45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Seeing an overwhelming desire for Perloff to show off the leggings. In fact,
that's weird. Is it some sort of technical difficulty?
We'll see if there's any kind of glitch. Someone said leggings should not be in a man's wardrobe.
Performance pants.
See, that doesn't sound right either.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way,
sound like don't take Viagra. Just have these performance
pants from Romans. No,
they're sent to you in a discreet package.
Yeah.
What kind of package?
Medium, size, small.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Tiger through 15. He's 2 over. What up? Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff hanging out with you. If that was the only story we had going on today, we could do tons and tons of Tiger, and we will as he continues to make his way through the first round at Augusta National. But Perloff, we get a little bit of a bombshell, a mini bombshell, right before the start of the show. It has to do with the NFL, and in particular, the top of the NFL draft. So let's get to it. Let's hear from Chris Mortensen from ESPN. Here's your number 1 pick.
What I'm hearing is that both Mel and Todd are going to have to change their mock drafts.
Ooh.
And that Bryce Young is the pick. And yes, Frank Wright, connecting Frank Wright to C.J. Stroud in terms of the prototype of guy that he has worked with in the past. But they all love Bryce Young.
They all love Bryce Young. Bryce Young is the pick. And the day that it happened, the day the news broke when I was wearing the duck costume that the Panthers were trading up to number 1. Advice Duck will be back tomorrow, by the way, because it'll be Friday. But the day they did it, I said, this is for Bryce Young. Because if it was for any other quarterback besides Bryce Young, would the Panthers have felt like they had to get all the way up to 1? Why would they feel like they must jump Houston? Why? You have to make sure. That's because you want to leave no doubt. That's because you have already selected your guy. And I think that the Panthers knew this all along, that Bryce Young was the dude.
Well, the only counter argument to be with that would have been Arizona was asking for way too much to get up to 3. I don't think that's the case. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is Bryce Young. And the GM said, maybe we'll even trade back. That was just,
oh my God.
That was GM talk, which anything a GM says this season is fake. So if that's the case, to me, the interesting angle then is clearly Houston wanted Bryce Young. Now he's off the board at number 2 because they stupidly won in their last game, which was the craziest, weirdest game ever, costing them the quarterback they probably want.
Lovie Smith.
Do you think they're going to want any of these quarterbacks in number 2?
Well, now that second pick might be up for sale, because if you are not taking a quarterback with that second pick, then you might as well trade out and trade down. I mean, if you really want Will Anderson, if you really want, now Jalen Carter actually is a little bit more problematic. He might have slipped a little bit, but say you want Jalen Carter, but you don't want to use the second pick with him. Trade back. Maybe you find a trade partner in Seattle, in Stu's Raiders, someone who wants to make sure they're not left, quote unquote, with the other, whoever the third or fourth best person you think is best quarterback prospect is. Be intentional.
Okay, I'm going to paint a scenario here. What if nobody wants to give any real draft capital to move up because they think the quarterbacks are going to fall down anyway? Fall down, you said Seattle is at 5 and the Raiders are at 7. Maybe they just wait there, but you know what? If Houston doesn't want a quarterback, why are we trading up? We don't want a quarterback number 2. Because to me, the top 2 guys are Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson. If Houston's going to take Richardson at 2, maybe. Yeah, I think you could wait if you're the Raiders. I just think back to last year's draft, Maggie, where we had all these quarterbacks mocked to the first round, and they all fell.
Yeah.
These
quarterbacks are being talked about better than those quarterbacks.
Yeah, but
except for Kenny Pickett.
But then again, those guys were talked up a month before the draft. I mean, Malik Willis was talked up a lot.
Yeah, that obviously was Malik Willis's people trying to push that up, though, right? Because no team was really in love with him to that point.
I think it was the media gets fooled all the time. I mean, Malik Willis was awesome in college. He just was playing lesser competition, and he had this amazing pro day, and he had a great combine. It's hype, but I think you could argue this class is a little overhyped because the production hasn't been consistent for some of the guys.
Fair.
It wasn't consistent for Richardson. It wasn't consistent for Levis.
Yeah.
And I keep saying about C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's coming out of Ohio State where he, in my opinion, wasn't as good as Justin Fields, and Fields fell to 11.
Right.
So all of a sudden, C.J. Stroud's going 1 or 2. There's a lot of flaws. And the number one guy is maybe the most obviously flawed of them all in your mind.
Listen, I wouldn't take him. I love Bryce Young. But I feel like I watched Bryce Young thrive in college, and I watched him survive in college.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't have a shoulder injury last year. It's not like, it's not like I'm worried about
but all the guys had injuries.
I know. I'm not worried about one big hit when it gets to the NFL. One big hit you can recover from. Joe Burrow has recovered from an ACL. Tom Brady early in his career recovered from an ACL. I'm not saying guys never get hurt and then come back and are great again. And you can point to Drew Brees with the shoulder injury early in his career, almost ended it, and then went on to a Hall of Fame career. But the accumulation of hits, that's what we saw with Tua, or we're seeing with Tua, and that's the one thing I worry about with the smaller quarterbacks. Any quarterback can take one big hit. Hell, Lamar Jackson is not a small guy, and he didn't finish the last 2 seasons. Anybody can take a hit. I just worry about the durability of a guy holding up when you're that size. He's got to hope that the offensive line is awesome in front of him, and then he has to be as quick with the ball getting out and be as fast, but he's not as fast as Kyler Murray, and I worry about that.
First of all, speed,
better decision making is Kyler
speed
Murray.
does not guarantee any kind of safety, and obviously Kyler Murray just got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. See,
the other thing, though, but Anthony Richardson is gigantic. He had injuries in college, and Cam Newton is gigantic, and his career was cut short by injuries.
But he at least had a very good
5-year window, and
went to a Super Bowl though.
Right, he went to, and the opening game of the next season is when the injuries. Denver basically went after his shoulder, and things were never the same for him. So we know.
Remember, Cam also got into a car accident. Remember that? It was.
But he had started to get a lot of on-field injuries. I don't think size matters. And is this all about Tua last year falling apart? Because before that, we hadn't had a lot of small quarterbacks who were injury-prone, had we?
I think Kyler Murray was like a really specific thing here.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Young, he also had won the Heisman, yes?
Yeah, he won the Heisman.
But he also had a unique thing where Arizona basically hired a coach to coach him.
Yeah.
And I also think maybe that the fact that he played baseball, I think they played Arizona pretty well there, like kind of threatening, like, hey, he might just go play baseball if he's not the number one pick.
Sure.
And I don't know if he would have been the number one pick if he didn't have that leverage of having the Oakland A's also be waiting there. So the Kyler Murray thing was
Baker
different.
Mayfield went the year before.
Yeah, but Baker's not this small.
He's not this small.
Baker's also not very good. We should point that out. So that's something that I would not want to compare him to Baker.
Yeah, but he had a big-time Pro Bowl season. It's his second year, I think it was.
They won a
he was
playoff
awesome.
game with him. Sure.
Yeah, they beat the Steelers.
Yep.
So, but I generally think other than Tua, who's a small quarterback that, and I'm probably missing somebody obvious. I feel like the big guys are just as big an injury risk. A lot of the small quarterbacks have been just fine.
Okay, but I'm talking about the accumulation of it. And I know it's a different NFL.
But I can't think of any small guys who've had an accumulation of hits other than Tua.
Well, what are we seeing? I mean, I also think you're not getting guys. It's only been very recently that I think the NFL's been even open to drafting guys this high who are this small. You know, like, yes, you're going to have the Doug Flutys from years ago, but it's really only been Breeze was like the outlier, and then
he played a million games. Russell Wilson set records for consecutive games.
Right.
Those guys were fine.
Okay, but again, are those outliers? Because we don't have a really big sample size of guys who are this size and weight who are even playing in the NFL. So you're basically saying, all right, we think that Bryce Young is so one of one that not only is he so good, which I know he's good, he's great. I love watching him. The anticipation, the throws, the accuracy, he's got the leadership. Like, he's he's perfect. But we don't even have a sample size, so he's got to be the one-of-one guy. You are betting that he's going to do something that we really haven't seen ever before in the NFL with his size, short and slight. So there you go. Panthers are doing it. I'm not that.
Yeah, I just think I think we've evolved to the point where we realize big does not ensure you anything in the NFL. Like, big, small, all kinds of quarterbacks get hurt. I mean, RG3 was not particularly small. He's probably the most injury prone. But Vince Young started having major injuries. He's gigantic. Actually, Tebow just stunk, I was going to say. But I'm trying to think of quarterbacks who flamed out. Okay, so you had Baker Mayfield 2018 short. I know he's not good now, but it wasn't because injuries sidelined him. I think that was more kind of locker room stuff.
Well, I mean, I think he also was a bit hurt. I mean, that last year it was the non-throwing shoulder, right? That was the thing that needed surgery. Go ahead.
Kyler Murray. Then Joe Burrow is a bigger guy, but he's not huge.
But he had his ACL, and now he's over it, right?
Right. And then Trevor Lawrence is gigantic. There have not been a lot of gigantic quarterbacks who have been. It's not a thing anymore. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Josh Allen. I think all shapes and sizes work at quarterback because it's 99% mental. It's such a mental game. Tom Brady has no athletic skill whatsoever. He was just so smart and was able to anticipate things so fast that it's really anticipation time, be able to read the field, stuff like that.
Okay, but there's so many different eras of Brady. Like, Tom Brady's not small, though.
He's not small, but I don't think he's not that big that he can withstand these hits. He just got rid of the ball so fast.
He did, but he also was tall. There was no thought that he wouldn't be able to see over his offensive line. There was, Brady wasn't a big batted passes at the line of scrimmage guy. I know sometimes tall quarterbacks get batted passes.
Well, I thought we were talking about durability, though.
Well, durability, okay. I'm just talking about it all.
Yeah. Well, so I have no concern about Bryce Young putting up big numbers. I think if you could go the durability, I'll go there with you. I think the numbers are going to be fine.
They go hand in hand, though, right?
No. You just said Tom Brady could see over the line. Like, none of that. You're saying he stayed safer because he could see over the line?
No. I'm saying the durability and the availability go hand in hand.
Right. But
he'll only put up big numbers if he's durable. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't think I see a tall quarterback entering the NFL, and I'm like, ooh, that guy's going to be so healthy because he's so big because they're getting chased down by these incredibly strong, fast players.
Yeah.
Tua, I think one or two of his problems is I think Tua held on to the ball a little too long sometimes. I think Bryce Young's going to be really smart. And he did it at Alabama. He was basically playing in the NFL already. He knows how to avoid these big guys. I mean, you think the guys who are running after him are all first and second round picks?
I know. And he had a shoulder injury.
But so did C.J. Stroud had a shoulder injury last year. Everybody gets hurt. Levis was hurt. I think Levis has been hurt most of his career, and he's gigantic. So I can't look at Bryce Young and say, oh, well, he was too injury prone in Alabama. I think they're fine. I think he's going to be so smart, Maggie. He's going to get rid of the ball. He's not going to hold on to it. He's going to avoid the big hits. He'll slide like Russell Wilson. You know that you can do it a certain way. It can be done, right? No?
It definitely can be done.
Yeah, just got to be so smart.
And I think he is very smart.
Yeah, Lamar is amazing at it. He's always been, until a couple years ago, he was incredible at avoiding the big hit.
I know, but now he's missed 11 games. Yeah. And some of it was for COVID, I think, and some other things. But he's telling us he's got a bad sprain. Lamar's on social media telling us how bad the injury was, and that's why he couldn't play in the playoff game against the Bengals.
All right, maybe not my best example.
Well, he might have played himself, or he might be so hurt that he's losing money.
Okay. Josh Allen, your guy. You watch him play. There's nobody bigger.
To death.
There's nobody bigger. There's nobody stronger. That doesn't protect him from anything.
Well, that's also the style he plays. If they played Bryce Young the way that they played Josh Allen, he wouldn't last 5 seconds. I mean, that would just be the dumbest thing you could ever do. But Josh Allen looks like a linebacker playing football, playing quarterback.
And what's the one thing his coach or GM said this offseason? We want him to run less. We want to change his style play.
Yeah, you want to know what? They've been saying that for years. And he doesn't change the damn thing.
Can the team and the coach help protect the Bryce Young? If you do it right, if you're taking him number one, you're the Panthers, can you do things, in your opinion, to keep him safe?
I actually think this is where having Frank Reich as your head coach probably comes in handy. Your head coach is your offensive coordinator, is a former quarterback. I know Frank's not a small guy, but, I mean, this is where it helps. this is where the entire focus is going to have to be on keeping Bryce and helping him, as it should be any rookie quarterback or any first overall pick. So I think that helps. Josh Allen's got a defensive head coach and offensive coordinators now rotating.
I'm well aware of the issues here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because obviously I sit next to you in an office, and I am well versed on concerns about Josh Allen and having a defensive head coach.
I know. Thomas L in the chat. I'm going to recognize Thomas here because every time we talk about Bryce Young, he brings this up, and I want to acknowledge that we see him bringing this up, and he talks about Doug Flutie, the all-time NFL leader in quarterback wins for quarterbacks under 6 feet tall and less than 200 pounds with 38. Let that be a warning to those tempted to draft small quarterbacks. But here's the thing. That's an outlier. I just think that Flutie, who, by the way, had to go to Canada first, right? Was not even thought of, not the number 1 overall pick. And Thomas is great because he adds so much to the show with his, giving us sports facts and the time machine and all that, taking us back in time. I love it. But he is an outlier.
I think Thomas is trying to say don't take short quarterbacks because the leaders only has 38 wins. That's what he's saying, right? I read that a different way.
Oh, no. He's usually stumping for...
Oh, he's pro Bryce Young.
Yeah, pro short quarterbacks.
Because that's not
it can be done.
That 38 wins, that's all you got?
Well, he got started a little bit late because nobody believed in him.
So
on the pro level.
Was the issue Drew Brees was over 200 pounds?
Yeah. Brees is over 200. Russell Wilson's over 200. Yeah, and Baker's over 200.
All right, we're splitting hairs. Yeah, Baker's thick, but Drew Brees, Maggie, you could beat Drew Brees in arm wrestling. He is not big. He is not big.
No, I've stood next to Drew Brees, and I'm in heels. I'm taller than him.
Oh, great, right. Yeah, he's not a big guy.
No, he's not. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So congrats to the Panthers. There you go. You're getting a great quarterback. I just don't know if you're getting a durable quarterback in the NFL.
Is there photographic evidence of you being taller than Drew Brees? I'll bet you there is.
There might be. Let me go back.
We got to look in the break for that because I would like to see that.
Yeah, I was at a Super Bowl. I was wearing very high heels. I'm not towering. Although standing next to Allen Iverson, I was definitely taller than Iverson.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
In heels. 855-212-4CBS. Sound like Mina Kimes. 855. It was in heels. 855-212-4227. I'm also a little taller than people might think. Okay. Coming up, we'll talk about Tiger. Round 1. Basically done. So we'll get the thoughts of our pal David Dusek, Golfweek senior writer, put a nice bow here on Tiger's first round. We'll do that next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. What a wonderful sports day. Unfortunately, your Mets are rained out, and it's not raining here in New York.
Have they been playing so badly? I'm okay with them taking a seat today.
Yeah, that's totally okay because we have our buddy, our longtime friend, Golfweek senior writer, David Dusek, to talk all things Masters. David, how you doing? Is this one of the best days of the year or what?
And this is the one you circle on the calendar, you know, but pretty much on the Monday morning leaving Augusta National, you circle the calendar for the next year because this is Christmas, this is Hanukkah, this is the whole thing wrapped up into one.
Absolutely love it. All right, so Tiger through 17, he's +1. How would you characterize his round?
It's rusty, and I think that's pretty unrealistic to think it wasn't going to really be this way. I think we wishfully think that we're going to get Tiger from 2019 when he was the winner. Or that we get a vintage Tiger year. But this is a player now with all the injuries that are really well documented. He just can't practice and play as much as he would want. And therefore, you can't come into a course where things are so demanding and so challenging and so difficult for everybody, let alone somebody who, by his own admission, really struggles to walk 72 holes. So the practice time, everything that he puts into his preparation for this, is probably more limited. He can hit shots, and he can certainly knows his way around. But it's starting to be unrealistic to think that Tiger Woods is really going to be contending in major championships. And he even said in his pre-round press conference this year, he doesn't know how many more of these things he's got physically left in him. So I think that we're in the point right now where we should just appreciate everything that we get from Tiger. I think people are doing that. But to realistically think, is he going to be a factor on the weekend? I think the better thing to hope for is just, can he get to the weekend?
So we've had in the past, golfers in their 50s have won major tournaments. Tiger's 47 right now, David. Is there any chance that we'll see, even if he seems to be in a bit of a slump, as you're noting, is there a chance that on one of these majors, one of these courses, that down the road we'll see, I don't know, like one of those Fred Couples or Tom Watson runs or Phil Mickelson at 50? Is it the way you described it sounds like it's reaching the end, but is this just really we're going to have to wait for the right circumstances for Tiger to win at this level again?
Yeah, and I think that what we could probably get is, for example, this July when we go back for the British Open at Royal Liverpool, he won on that golf course in 2006. And if he catches the right week and if his body holds up and it's not, crazy, insane weather, which you can get there, it's a really, really flat walk. It's very easy to walk when you're inside the ropes at those courses that are links courses. Augusta National is like on a mountainside. From a physical standpoint, to walk around it is challenging. The holes are really challenging. As he gets older, for example, and he can still get it out there as far as just about anybody on tour. But as the years go on, links courses, British Opens, where creativity and guile and experience plays such a huge role. And a lot of times remember, Tom Watson at age 59 nearly won a British Open because the ball rolls out forever and ever. So I think that's going to end up being his best chance as the years go by. David
Dusek is Golfweek's senior writer, joining us now to talk a little bit about the Masters. All right, so away from Tiger, what's the biggest surprise of day one so far?
I don't know if number one, the scoring conditions are this good because there's no wind. It's warm. It's 85 degrees in Augusta. The humidity is up. It's going to be the best day of scoring that we're probably going to see. We're supposed to get rain. The wind isn't supposed to get too bad, which means scoring conditions on Friday could be good, but the high is going to be in the low to mid 50s on Saturday, and then we're expecting more rain and cold and wet. The ball's not going to go anywhere. Today is the day to make birdies. And the thing that I just look at, Maggie, is like the quality on the top of the leaderboard. I mean, this is exactly what CBS and everybody who's associated with this tournament really wants to see. Victor Hovland, John Rahm, Adam Scott, Cameron Young, there are stars at the top of the leaderboard doing what they're supposed to do. My condolences, Maggie, that your junior prom date, Will Zalatoris, had to withdraw. I'm really sorry about that.
Looks just like the guy I went to junior prom with.
I'm telling you, if you throw a little side eyes towards that Cameron Young kid, he's pretty good. For people who may not be aware, he's really, really good. And again, if you're looking for a little bit of a dart, he's a top 20 in the world player. He's not going anywhere. He's really good.
So, talking to David Dusek, Golfweek, I watched Full Swing on Netflix, and I was led to believe that Brooks Koepka had completely lost his mental faculties and was never going to be competitive again.
It got pretty dark for him in that series.
But now I see him right there on the leaderboard as well. Are we looking at a possible Koepka comeback?
Who knows? Like, his body is going to dictate how well he does, which is sort of stating the obvious. He's had so many injuries over the last couple of years that if he's healthy and if he's feeling good, there's no reason to think that he can't put together 4 good rounds and maybe contend in another major. He won the Live Series event last week, played at Orange County National Golf Club, which isn't exactly where, like, Ben Hogan used to go and train, but it seems to have given him a little bit of a confidence, a little bit of a good feel. A lot of the Live guys are struggling so far today. There's just no getting around that. A couple of them, like Koepka, Joaquin Niemann, is at 3 under. Patrick Reed, who's former Masters champion, got it around a 1 under par. But Koepka, if he's able to hold it together physically, and it certainly sounds like from what he's saying, the knees are good, the back is good, everything is going along well enough, he'll get a lot of confidence if he can bring this into the house at 5 under par and finish the day with a 67. He's going to be feeling it.
David, a little gossip, let's sidetrack for a second. Not just that the tortilla soup was apparently the spiciest thing that has ever been served at a Masters dinner, and we got a little of that reporting, but also that Phil Mickelson is obviously at this tournament. It was at the players' dinner, the champions' dinner, pardon me, sitting at the end of a table, nobody talking to him, according to some reports, and him not talking to anybody. You mentioned the Live golfers are struggling. Do you get the sense they're also getting frozen out a bit?
I don't know that they're necessarily being frozen out of it because I think that one-on-one relationships that are out there, a lot of guys live around other pro golfers. So they're seeing people here and there, and I don't really think that there's a whole lot of that happening. But I will say that it's really interesting as you guys take a look at the coverage and as you see photographs of Phil Mickelson, take a look at how different he looks than compared with a year ago and then even 2 years ago. He's lost a significant amount of weight. He's always got the sunglasses on. To me, the eyes are getting really sunken. He looks like just a physically very different person. Now, Phil is 52 at this point, but it's just something that I've noticed starting last year when we saw him. The beard was coming through.
What do you think's going on?
Down, the sunglasses were there. He was physically separating himself off from a lot of things. Like he was just changing. And you can still see that when you see images of him there. Now, in Phil Mickelson, a 3-time, Masters winner, can probably get around Augusta National in his sleep at, 1 under par. It'll be really interesting to see if he's able to bring it around. He just made double bogey on 11. I don't know exactly what we're going to get because he's been playing terribly since changing over to the Live Tour. I have no clue exactly what we're going to get, but it's been weird to sort of see Mickelson around and so much less jovial and happy and bouncing around. It's a different Mickelson these days.
David, what is your sense nationally of the popularity of the Live golfers? Are people holding it against them? Not the other players, but fans generally, and not just who are in Augusta, but nationwide. Are less people rooting for Phil Mickelson and Brooks Koepka and all the other big-name golfers in Live?
I don't know that it's necessarily that they're rooting against them. I think that so much of it is out of sight, out of mind. I mean, when is the last time that people are really talking these days, about most of the guys that are on the tour? Bryson DeChambeau isn't making any news these days. Bubba Watson, nobody's talking about these guys. They have a TV deal, but it's a 3 days, and 2 of the days are only on the app and not necessarily on broadcast TV. They play once a month. And with the lawsuits and litigation, all the stuff going back and forth, Liv has made a lot more noise and a lot more news about the sort of breakaways and the money than the actual golf. No one's really talking about the way, most of these guys are playing golf. Patrick Reed, nobody's talking about that. So it's much more, to me, less animosity rooting for or against. It's just almost forgotten.
David, last one. So any kind of predictions for tomorrow? You said the weather's going to be changing a little bit, so expect the scores to, go up a little bit, I guess is the best way to put it. Any other predictions for tomorrow?
It's the day where I think you're just sort of bracing for impact. It looks like Saturday is really going to be the day when it comes home. So you're trying to bank as many birdies, pack away as many good scores as you possibly can because, as you know, the scores are probably going to go up a little bit, in which case then – you're just trying to hold on and not give it away. You don't want to make a triple or a quad or have something really bad. You don't want to put it into the creek on 12 a couple times, and we've seen championships lost that way. So it's just a day to sort of consolidate what you've got, make yourself comfortably, get through the cut, get to the weekend, and then just keep grinding away. It's, for everybody after today, it's 54 more holes, and we got a long way to go.
David, how do you feel about the fact that it looks like I'm on my way to predicting my second major in a row accurately because I nailed Cam Smith last year, and now John Rahm was my prediction this morning. Kind of seems like I'm on fire, fair to say?
It's kind of like you're going after like the number 1 and 2 players in the world, Perloff. Really way to go out on a limb with this.
Kind of. Well, yeah, I don't know. Was Cam Smith that way at the? Oh, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, he kind of was.
What's next? You're going to predict a Yankees-Dodgers World Series? Way to go out on a limb there, Perloff.
Oh, no. There's no way the Yankees are making the World Series. Okay, if you had to make a pick now that you've seen a little bit of action, who is it Victor Hovland's tournament to lose, David?
I think it's really hard to go wire to wire. I mean, Hovland's in the house now after shooting 65. That's a big ask. I still like John Rahm as a pick. I realize that, again, it's right there. I think that's a really smart pick. Xander Schauffele, who's now finished at 4 under par after shooting 68, the guy's game is bulletproof. He's got no weaknesses. He's been in the mix on Sunday at the Masters. He had a taste of the lead in 2019 before he lost it to Tiger. I really like X-Man with Xander.
David, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. David Dusek, check him out, Golfweek senior writer. Enjoy the rest of the tournament, David. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, the tortilla soup story.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was like the spiciest thing that anyone's ever had.
Right.
Like, yeah, fire. People were like grabbing at their throats. Do you think that it was actually that spicy, or do you think that the Champions Dinner at the Masters crowd, maybe just going out on a limb, could have some bland eaters?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to think of where the Masters winners are from. Aren't they from all over the country? I think that a lot of them are from the South, where they generally use a lot of spice in their food. No?
I mean, it's just surprising to me. Like, really, could it have been that spicy?
Okay, let's look at some of these winners, and you tell me how wimpy they were about the spices.
Okay.
All right, Hideki Matsuyama. He's from Japan. I mean, they have lots of spice over there. That was no problem for him.
Okay, more like wasabi.
Dustin
probably.
Johnson, he definitely eats spicy food. No?
I don't know. He does a lot of things.
Obviously, Patrick Reed is from Louisiana, right?
Okay, so he should have a pretty strong.
Sergio Garcia, Spanish food. Danny Willett.
Spanish food's that spicy.
That's not okay.
I don't think so.
Danny Willett was crying. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, he's from England, right?
Jordan Spieth's from Texas. That's easy peasy.
He should be fine.
Bubba, these guys are all from spicy. Bubba Watson.
Then why am I getting complaints?
It's mostly Danny Willett and Charles Schwartzel who are complaining.
I don't know about South African food. I've never had it before.
Most of these guys are from places where they eat lots of spicy food. Now, Phil's from San Diego, so he probably, that's spicy food.
I would think so, right?
Yeah, this is, I don't think Tiger probably brought in his own, like, nutritionally
You think he doesn't eat the firecracker shrimp and the sliders?
Well, you and I think had some disagreements. To me, this sounded like the greatest meal ever. I don't want the sliders, but everything else on there, wasn't there mac and cheese and all the fun foods on this?
Those firecracker shrimp is the sliders, steak,
ribeye, yeah,
steak, fish, and like skillet cookies. Chocolate chip cookies in a skillet.
That sounds
Carlos is giving me the thumbs up.
That sounds amazing.
I'm all in on that meal.
Okay, yeah. It's a great meal, but when you think Masters dinner, are you thinking also I'm 15 years old and this is what I just ordered?
I think
with my family at Chili's.
These people are probably not as upper crust as you think. All the Masters that are like a 50-year-old. Because he's got Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson, I think, had chicken nuggets at his. I mean, these are not exactly complex.
Mickey D's menu?
These are not complex men here with huge.
I'd like a Whopper Jr. to start.
I did read. Remember, we went over these menus. My favorite, Hideki Matsuyama went with a sushi buffet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
I know. See, that's not 14-year-old. Unless you have a pretty cool 14-year-old.
He's from that part of the world. It's different. I think most of the. What do you think Patrick Reed had? Do you think he had Grey Poupon there? I don't know. What is
Grey Poupon.
What are the fancy meals? Yeah, these guys all. Or Tiger has gone fancy. I know that. Tiger has been impressive, but. Yeah, I would.
Where's like the lobster? Where's the caviar? Where's the?
Some guys go lobster. Yeah.
Where's the stone crabs? You know, the high-priced items. That's what I would do. It's just I'm just trying to take the Masters and I'm trying to get them on everything I can. Like, let's get the most expensive thing possible. I'm not paying for it.
You know how I feel. I would go to the dinner and not go to the tournament if I could. I think that dinner sounds amazing. And yeah, are you kidding me? Lobster? I'm all over.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, we appreciate that from David Dusek. The Lakers are playing the blame game. We'll tell you what and who they're blaming. Do that next with 2 games left to go in the regular season after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Opening round of the Masters on what has been a very warm and nice-looking day at Augusta, and it is Victor Hovland with the lead right now after a first round 65. That leaves him at 7 under, 1 shot better than Jon Rahm, who is on 18 right now at 6 under par. Another shot back is Cameron Young, and then a bunch of golfers at 4 under par. Among them, Brooks Koepka. Scotty Scheffler, the defending champ, is 2 under through 7. Rory McIlroy is even through 6. And Tiger Woods, a 2 over 74 for his opening round today. Baseball this afternoon in Detroit, home opener for the Tigers, who trailed the Red Sox by a score of 6-3 in the top of the 9th. Home runs for Adam Duvall and Rafael Devers in this one. Bottom of the 6th, Toronto with a 5-0 lead over Kansas City. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Kevin Biggio have both gone deep as well. San Francisco leads the White Sox 6-3 in the top of the 5th. Michael Conforto with his second home run of the season for the Giants in that one. And getting underway shortly will be the Nationals and Rockies in Colorado. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What a bizarre game last night for the Lakers. Let's do it. Let's lake and bake.
Lake and bake.
Never really seen a stat line like this from LeBron James. 33 points, 3 in the first half, 30 in the second half. That was something.
Yeah, it's so weird. He said he was tired in the first half, and then he wasn't tired in the second half.
Yeah.
Isn't it usually the other way around?
What are you doing at halftime? Like major Gatorade gum? I don't even know. What do you do?
I get that. Sometimes.
Lemonade?
Don't you ever feel sluggish in the morning, and then you get going? And so it took him a while to get going. He's not a young man.
No, I understand. Well, bottom line is they lose to the Clippers again. The Lakers do. Now, the Lakers will make the play-in tournament. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They will make the play-in tournament, but that's the only thing that is guaranteed for the Lakers. And to be honest, I don't even know if they don't win that first game in the play-in tournament. Are they winning 2 games?
Yes. I mean, they only have to win 1, right?
If they lose the first game, they have to play another game against the 8-9.
Right. If they're one of the 7-8, they only have to win 1 game.
Right.
If they are 9-10, they have to win 2 games. I think they're going to beat. If they can't beat Minnesota, say, hypothetically, then where are they going anyway? What's the difference? They're going to beat Minnesota.
I don't know. Anyway.
And they're going to beat New Orleans. This is LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and this is prime Anthony Davis. I mean, they're talking about getting out of the West. They better be able to win the play-in.
I know. You
right?
just made me like blink. I'm like, I know it's prime Anthony Davis. I know it's LeBron James, but I also watched them lose last night. They were down 20 points in the fourth quarter. Now, admirably, they came back slightly.
Yeah, but those Clippers they're loaded.
They've beaten them 11 times in a row.
Yeah, also the Clippers look really good. All these teams, all the West teams look really. I could talk myself into any West team, including the Lakers.
Let's hear from LeBron from last night, shall we? Because he had a reason for why they lost. It wasn't just how well the Clippers played.
It was a tough game for us. Obviously, we started off in the first half not so playing Laker basketball. We had some good spurts, but not enough. So this is one of those scheduling conflicts, in the season, and definitely got the best of us tonight.
Yeah, scheduling conflicts when you're really trying to make a push here. I get it. You're on a back-to-back. You needed overtime to beat Utah the night before.
Yeah, that doomed them. They should have.
It's 5 extra minutes.
They should have sat LeBron. Listen, this was a road game though. They did have to travel very far.
Yeah, across the hallway. Yeah.
It was technically a road game.
Yeah, technically it was the Clippers.
Back-to-back on the road, Maggie. Let's see you win.
I know. Wow, those back-to-back road games. Listen.
So are you losing confidence in my Lakers because of this? My Lakers because I put a future bet on them. Yeah, I don't care.
Before that, they had
one game at a time.
They had won like 8 of their last 9 or something like that. So I can't just say like fully, okay, they've fallen off, but kind of needed this one, right?
Yes
These are all playoff games to me.
Right.
And so now is the time when you're like, all right, here's where we show what we can do. And they lost. Now, listen, they're still going to be in the play-in. Just think, I don't know.
Well, wait.
LeBron James.
These teams, the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Lakers, and the Pelicans actually are all clumped together.
Yep.
For their last game, if you're guaranteed a spot, I would be surprised if anyone wants to try to win to get to the 5 seed. I'll bet you these teams bench all their starters to avoid Phoenix in the first round.
And you want to know what you do then? You anger the sports gods, Perloff. And when you anger the sports gods and you try to mess around too much where you want to get so perfect with your spots, can I tell you what could happen here?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you anger the sports gods. When you anger the sports gods because you don't want to play Phoenix in the first round because you want to avoid the 4-5 matchup, and Phoenix is already locked into the 4 seed.
Yeah.
You want to know what happens?
What?
Kevin Durant gets hurt in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Oh, don't say that to Kevin Durant.
No, I'm not going to what? I'm just saying that's what happens when I'm shaking my finger now like I'm Rafael Palmeiro in Congress. This is what happens, although I'm telling the truth right now. This is what happens when you anger the sports gods. You can't do it because It's not right. Now, tanking, that's a different thing. The sports gods understand tanking.
Yeah.
That's like a whole philosophy.
You're telling me the sports gods don't understand when a basketball team does not play its best players? Have the sports gods been paying attention to the NBA the last 6 years?
Listen,
resting your stars in an NBA game people are basically load managing in the first round of the playoffs now. It's such a common thing.
Yeah.
Why not load manage one more game? This is such a common strategy for basketball. They never play their good players.
No.
So no one's even going to notice if they're there.
When you try to get too cute, I think it angers the sports gods.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a hypothetical, and you have to be honest here. You're Darvin Ham, coach of the Lakers, and you have a choice. Well, this probably wouldn't be this, but
the coach never wants to lose a game. Are you crazy? That goes on his permanent record.
But it's the 82nd game of the year, the last game. If you win, you face the Suns in round 1. If you lose, you face the Kings in round 1. You're telling me you would start LeBron James and Anthony Davis in that situation?
Listen, I think if they were going to start, you start.
So what if you won that game and then you have Phoenix? All you had to do was lose it. Or would you play it cute and pull LeBron early?
Well, see, maybe you see how the game's going, You also, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be that black and white because it's still going to depend on a few other teams and what they're doing. So
good point. And also the Lakers probably won't be in that position because the Clippers, anyway.
Here's the thing, it just goes back to the NFL. Do you think the Houston Texans told Lovie Smith, you've got to lose that game? I think they told him, we're probably not bringing you back. And he was like, then we're winning that thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I think you're right. I think that's what happened. But
these are the types of things that anger the sports guys. You can't do that stuff.
The West is so wild. Imagine if the 4-5 game is Phoenix, Golden State, and the 1 seed is Denver. Don't you want to play Memphis, Sacramento, all these other teams?
Okay, but
you don't want to play the older, experienced playoff teams. You want those young upstarts.
Okay, but you're leaving out one small detail.
What?
I've got to play another game in the play-in tournament to get to those.
Well, that's why I wanted the 6 seed, ideally.
Okay, but you might not get what you want here.
You're right. Messing around with the play-in tournament, maybe that's a step too far.
Do not do it. A single elimination.
Maggie, you're telling me, I can't believe you're so worried about LeBron James against the New Orleans Pelicans and the winner of the Thunder T-Wolves game.
Listen, the Pelicans, didn't they take the Suns to 7 games last year?
Oh, come on. They're going to...
I'm worried. Any team in a 1 game, and then if they lose that 7-8 game, then whoever loses that plays the winner of the 9-10 game.
If LeBron cannot win one of those 2 games, then this was not the year.
Okay.
They were not meant to win a title.
Listen,
so who cares?
I know LeBron makes excuses a lot. I still love him, but he makes excuses a lot. But if an extra 5 minutes in Utah is the reason why you scored 3 points in the first half against the Clippers, then adding more minutes should be the last thing you want to do. So avoiding any play-in games, any extra games has to be number one. And Anthony Davis with the injury history, you got to avoid extra games.
I hear you. Yeah, you don't want to play him, but you definitely want the 6 seed. And if there's a team, and Golden State too, the other thing, I'm speaking as a fan, I don't want to see Golden State and Phoenix in round 1. That's not a round 1 matchup. That should be a conference finals.
You know whose fault that is? Golden State, because they could not win a game on the road. Be better, and then we won't get that in the first round.
I also blame Phoenix and Brooklyn for not getting KD to Phoenix in the first place. Why do we have to wait till the trade deadline?
Yeah, come on. Everyone knew that KD wanted out of there. Do that in the summer.
Yeah, the silliness from Bill Simmons, but you know where the NBA is rooting. They do not want to see a Denver-Memphis Western Conference Finals. They want to see the older stars. I mean, because they're more established. They want to see LeBron. They want to see KD. They want to see Steph Curry.
No, I get it.
It's not that those other players aren't great, but I just think we have much more history with them. So we all want to see that.
Sorry, Timothy in the chat just put Lescuse, like excuse. Is that a LeBron nickname?
I think Timothy made that up.
Lescuse, is that an original?
I like it.
RPC says Timmy knows.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. Yes, for TV ratings and all of that. However, I mean, Ja was having a moment, got a little derailed by his own accord, but
yeah, I don't see
I think the NBA was ready to very much push him to the front. Nike was ready to push him to the front. So
one could say he was a shooting star.
Oh, Carlos went there.
Too soon?
Well, no, never too soon.
Yeah, I don't think the Memphis Grizzlies are. I think the Memphis Grizzlies could be a Western Conference Finals. I would be willing to bet that will be one of the lowest rated conference finals you'll see.
How about this? Everyone talking about how they want Sacramento. Watch Sacramento go out and wipe the floor with somebody in the first round. Like, what makes us think that Sacramento's going away so easy?
Well, it's just because
they're young.
they're going to get a tough draw in that first round.
Yeah, they are, but they've been a good team. This isn't a fluke.
Well, just look at the odds. I mean, I just pulled up the Western Conference odds.
The Nets winning the title last year, and I watched them get swept by the Celtics.
The public perception, the Suns are the favorite, a heavy favorite, then the Nuggets and the Warriors, then the Grizzlies, Lakers, Clippers, then Kings. I think the reason...
That's also about the public, though. They want the public to go... They do that for the more established stars.
But I think there's a good reason. The Warriors, you really think, if you had to pick, if you were in the media, and you are in the media, you had to pick a Grizzlies...
Wait, hold on. Let me think of what that would be like.
Yeah, if you had to pick a Kings-Warriors series, I mean, it's really hard to pick against a team that you've seen do that, and then their playoff DNA kicks in. It's just really hard to assume the Kings can do it for the first time. I think there's a public reason, but there's also a valid experience reason. I mean...
You have an experienced coach.
It's hard to knock out Steph Curry in a playoff game. I think that's what we're all thinking.
Yeah, no doubt. It is hard, but... I like this Kings story. I don't think it's going to end so easily. I don't think they're going to go away meekly here. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, like easy pickings, for somebody. All right, we know who the number one pick in the NFL is going to be. Look at that. We'll tell you about it next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I think this show is like the backup quarterback of the sports media industry. We're all moxie. We're all grit. We just want it.
Come on. We're high picks here. We just have a lunch pail mentality.
No. You're not getting it. You need a chip on your shoulder. You need to be an undersized, underdrafted backup quarterback, and we're going to show that they're wrong about it.
I got the undersized part up.
Yeah, we got the shortest producer in the game. We have Kyler Murray over there. We have Stu, who's got right now the worst collection of teams to root for in the history of sports.
It is dark, yeah.
We have me, who is born to hold a clipboard, Maggie. And you haven't won a Super Bowl your whole life. You don't even know what victory tastes like.
How did you just nail that? Crap. Just the Moxie Squad.
The Moxie Squad. Is that our new nickname?
We do have a lot of Moxie. All right, we're the backup quarterback of shows. There, it's settled.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up? Welcome to the show. Got a lot going on today. So glad to have you with us. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, hanging out with you coast to coast on CBS Sports Radio. You can always watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio as well. We're also streaming on the free Odyssey app. We're on Sirius XM channel 158. All right, the headline news today, of course, is Tiger Woods finishes his first round at the Masters. It's a +1 for Tiger, which puts him tied for, like in the 40s, basically. Rusty is how he looked. Pretty rusty, but that's to be expected because he doesn't really practice much anymore because his body has been breaking down ever since his bad car accident.
Right, or play.
And before that.
He doesn't play tournaments either, so that's to be expected. I guess +2. You could do a lot worse. It does seem...
Sorry, +2. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Tied for 55th.
Yeah, as we're watching the scoreboard, there's some high scores here. Rahm and Hovland now at -7, so it's going to be tough. But, I obviously, people follow my major bets.
I know. Well, they become locks. It's not even bets at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
spend the money now.
We all know I got Cam Smith. Last year is probably the only major I've ever predicted accurately.
I know, and it's unfortunate for all of us because you did his accent for about a month.
Yes. So I bet on John Rahm today, and I'm working on a Spanish accent, more of the sort of the southern Spain.
Oh, like Andalusia?
Yeah, or Castellano. What's the other? There's some region that starts with a C. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'll probably unveil it if Rahm wins. But if Victor Hovland...
You've been working on it. Wow.
Victor Hovland wins.
Yeah, what are you going to do for him?
So he is from Norway, I believe, which is where my grandmother was born. I'm of Norwegian descent, and I speak some Norwegian.
What can you say?
Well, I can do the Swedish chef from Muppets. Fusen.
I thought you said Finland.
No, we're from Norway.
Oh, Norway, sorry.
Yeah.
But then you went to Sweden.
Well, that's all I can do. And basically all those countries are kind of the same. So I'll do a lot of Swedish chef. Do you remember, were you a Muppets fan?
No, I know what you're talking about. But I asked you to say a word in Norwegian, and you said dusen.
No, fusen.
That's not a word.
Yeah.
Give us another thing you can say.
Okay, what did I know how to... Lefska, of course, is my favorite food.
Okay, that's some kind of cheese, right?
No, that's Yatos.
Oh, yeah.
The Yatos. Oh, if Hovland wins, and by the way, can we confirm he's from Norway? I can't remember which Scandinavian country he's from.
Yeah, no, I saw the flag on his bag.
So Yatos, grew up with Yatos, Lefska.
What's Lefska?
Lefska is a potato bread, and it is amazing.
Okay.
And then fish balls, of course.
And that's the name in Norwegian, fish balls?
I don't know what they're actually called, but whenever we do did you ever bring this bring stuff from your
your heritage to school.
Your heritage school. So my mom would cook up fish balls, which we only made to bring to my class. Yeah, we made fish balls like 4 times.
That must have been a real crowd pleaser for the 4th graders.
Kids hate fish balls. That's one thing I learned the hard way. When my mom left, they threw them at me.
To be honest, you kind of deserved it.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone else is bringing cookies and stuff like that, and you brought fish balls.
There's this amazing Norwegian cookie called julekake.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, it was hard to say without giggling.
Yeah.
Julekake. I'll bring in some of those.
Doesn't sound appetizing at all.
Yeah, that sounds like caca.
I'll bring it. Okay, it's up to you guys. If Hovland wins, I will bring in the Norwegian.
Definitely, we definitely want the cookies and not the fish balls.
Okay, fish balls, but they're called julekakes. That's not going to bother you?
Well, we can, that part, it's easier to stomach the name than stomach the actual fish ball.
So it's kind of like a thin cannoli.
Great.
Yes, you put in. Yeah, it's amazing.
We're going to say yes to every kind of cookie. This is not going to be a hard sell.
Cannolis. Oh, those are.
Yeah, I know. And we're close to Little Italy.
But anyway,
in our studio.
Yeah, I did. For some reason, I tweeted out this morning that I got Rahm. It seems like an easy pick now, but golf is so random. And we had David Dusek on last hour.
Yeah.
Whatever. I always make the mistake one day into a major. I'm like, that guy's going to win, and it never happens. It's so hard to go wire to wire.
It's really, really difficult, and the weather's going to start getting worse and worse in Augusta. Right now, it's great. It's 80. It's humid. Everyone's muscles and joints are all loosened up. But to be 55 and windy and rainy this weekend.
I hate it.
Anyway,
I hate it.
So that's one thing that's going on. We also have another, which is a report from Chris Mortensen at ESPN that the Panthers, they're on the board. Here's who they're taking.
What I'm hearing is that both Mel and Todd are going to have to change their mock drafts. Ooh. And that Bryce Young is the pick. And yes, connecting Frank Wright to C.J. Stroud in terms of the prototype of guy that he's worked with in the past. But they all love Bryce Young.
Okay, so Bryce Young, it's not that hard to see why he would be the number 1 pick. He's got the size issue for sure, but you're kind of probably set in your ways on that. You either think that's a problem or not a problem. And you know what I like about this, Perloff, is if I'm the Panthers, if someone leaked this to Mortensen or whatever, I'm okay with this getting out.
Well, right, but
I want people to think that I have confidence and conviction behind the person who I just traded a future 1st and 2nd round pick to go up and get. This whole close to the vest, and I don't know. Like, if you're the Panthers, us knowing who you're going to take, like, I know the ESPN might not like it because they have a show that they're doing, or NFL Network has a TV show that they want us to watch, which we will. But I want to show that I'm really behind this guy 100%.
Yeah, but teams don't do that because I think the league pressures them not to, right?
They don't want them to give it up because of the TV show aspect of it.
I didn't take this Mortensen thing as 100%. I took it as I'm hearing everyone in the building loves Bryce Young, and it's probably going to be Bryce Young.
The pick is Bryce Young.
Yeah, but no, I didn't hear him. He didn't say, I'm reporting right now the Panthers are going to take Bryce Young. He did leave a little. See, for me, I think you could still have a compelling mock drafts and still ESPN's still going to debate who's the number 1 pick.
The machine still has to keep working, but I don't.
It wasn't Adam Schefter coming out and saying the Panthers are letting it be known they're going to take Bryce Young, which, by the way, you wouldn't be able to trust 100% either. But I feel like there's enough wiggle room that we're going to be able to talk about this pick a little more.
I don't. I think this is over. But I said it was over the day it happened. I thought they were trading up to get Bryce Young, so I'll stick by it. But the other thing, too, it's funny. So Mortensen went on to say something else that I can understand where he's coming from here about this situation. You don't want it to get to a place where it's like what the 49ers did a couple of years ago.
I think I'll quote Adam Schefter, who said this reminds him of when the 49ers moved up all the way to 3, and it was intentional to draft Mac Jones, and then changed their mind at the last minute and drafted Trey Lance. And that has not worked out for the 49ers, and I think the Panthers are on Bryce Young at the start and will stick with him when it's time to turn in that card.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And like,
so what was with all the C.J. Stroud theatrics?
I think that was the outside.
What do you mean? All 4 guys were sitting there hugging him.
Listen, you can still hug the guy. Why not? You can hug the guy. You can play a game of horse with the guy. Did that
honestly feel like that was like a team that had made their decision? Of course, you're right. There's a lot of it could easily be nothing, but it's sure.
You're not going to give him the cold shoulder.
Sure looked like they were there to evaluate C.J. Stroud. when they, and Josh McCown said, when you move to Carolina, we'll play pig. That's our quarterback coach. It's a little hard to reconcile.
Come to Carolina, not when you move to Carolina.
Yeah, no.
Like for a private workout, probably.
No. He said when you have a house.
Oh, did he say that?
That was very much when you're here in Carolina. That's why we made such a big headline out of it. Yeah, it didn't feel like they were done their evaluation at that point. I'm sure you're right, because teams still visit quarterbacks they have no interest in taking. That happens all the time. Yep. But it didn't feel like, this is such 100% going to be Bryce Young at that time. Maybe I'm wrong. You think I'm a fool for saying that?
I just think that if you're going to trade up, it's because you've already, especially up to one, where you're, all of a sudden, now you've sacrificed next year's first-round pick and next year's second-round pick. I think that you absolutely have to know who you're drafting. So I just think the process is probably just confirmed what they all saw on tape and what they already liked, because he's right about the 49ers situation. I mean, that looks like a super mess, and it might change, and maybe Trey Lance still has a shot at San Francisco to be the starter, but we're talking about now are the 49ers having a conversation with the Packers about Aaron Rodgers, and could Tom Brady be still kind of sniffing around? Like, They wanted to trade up to get Mac Jones. Then they talked themselves into Trey Lance, and look at where it has them now. Wow. Basically with Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, and injured Brock Purdy.
Shanahan and Lynch have denied all that multiple times.
They would.
And by the way,
I would too if I were them.
Honestly, I know Trey Lance hasn't exactly worked out, but what was Mac Jones going to be there? I mean, he would have basically been Brock Purdy.
I know.
I don't know that they missed out on some great thing in Mac Jones.
No, but if Brock Purdy is healthy, that game against the Eagles is definitely different.
No, my point is, I don't think they exactly missed Patrick Mahomes by not getting Mac Jones there anyway. I'm not sure. I kind of believe them that I think they were undecided when they traded up. I don't think the whole building was like, we're definitely taking Mac Jones. I think Shanahan probably wanted him, but I don't think he'd even studied them at that point. When was that trade? Anyway, the Bryce Young, the other thing is a clear-cut number one pick. Who's going to be the other number one pick here? I think he's so far above the rest of the class. The only thing is that weight issue and the fact that he's small.
Yeah.
Otherwise, production-wise, I don't think you see another quarterback who's in the same league as him.
No, you don't, but I know you always love to quote the Vegas odds. They were heavy on Stroud.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I think they already started moving.
Yeah, of course they would, because that was a blip, and this was always going to be Bryce Young. So I believe
that being
this.
Said, unless that before Bryce Young, the only outlier was, I think a lot of people were wondering, hey, maybe Anthony Richardson is the biggest prospect in this class, which leads me to the number 2 pick. I don't think anyone's trading up for C.J. Stroud. I don't think Houston's taking C.J. Stroud. If you're going to go up to number 2, don't you want to trade up for somebody with massive upside like Anthony Richardson, the Florida quarterback? Because to give up all those assets, you need to get a superstar, where C.J. Stroud seems like a super competent, very skilled quarterback, but he doesn't seem like a potential needle mover like Anthony Richardson could be.
What makes you think that Houston would not take Stroud, or is leaning away from Stroud? Would lead away from Stroud?
I just say cute because it's a bunch of thing. One,
they could trade out of that pick if they like Stroud and get him later?
No, I just don't think Stroud works there at number 2 because Houston's receivers are terrible. So
the whole team's bad.
Right. Stroud is ready now. He's a very smooth passer. So Anthony Richardson, it depends on your time frame. I think a team that's ready to try and win some games is going to take C.J. Stroud because he already knows what he's doing.
Right.
But Anthony Richardson, if you're more patient, has a much higher upside. I think everyone thinks in 4 years Anthony Richardson's going to be maybe the best player in this class. That's how I would view it.
4 years, though.
Yeah, I mean, just over the life of the rookie deal, by the end of it, I think Anthony Richardson could be the bigger star.
A lot of guys don't get 4 years, to develop. Like, that's very rare. That's like Jordan Love is kind of the only one I can think of, and that was because Rodgers was sitting ahead of him.
You're probably right, but don't you think Houston will be patient? They have DeMeco Ryans. They're not going to fire DeMeco Ryans. They're not putting any pressure on him. He's only 38, I believe. They love him there. He played there. So they're going to be patient. And their team, look at the receivers on Houston. He's throwing to no one. So what's the point of C.J. Stroud? The other thing, too, we could get into a little bit of this. Daniel Jeremiah has been talking a lot about this S2 cognitive test.
Yeah. Tell me about this, because this is not the Wonderlic.
No, this is not the Wonderlic. This is a test that came from baseball, I believe.
Okay.
It's a cognition test where basically you are testing, it's a lot of shapes and things.
Okay.
And you're
I do that with my 3.5-year-old right now. He's nailing it.
I think it's a very similar test to that. Your ability to process information quickly is what judges you, and it's crazy accurate for NFL success.
Interesting.
So,
I would love to know like a sample question. I'm not asking you for one right now, but what would a sample question be? Because it's not like an SAT question.
No, it's nothing like that at all. Just so you know, the guys who are famously have the best ones, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Phew.
Yeah, I know. It's great that this year there's a rumor out there. Daniel Jeremiah said on his podcast that Young got a 99
out of 100.
Out of 100.
Yeah.
I think that's the highest score ever.
Wow.
So people, and to me, when I heard,
is there a way we can take this test to see whether or not we are smarter than an NFL quarterback?
The other thing too, the test is, I believe, and I have to double check this, it works for all positions, not just quarterbacks.
Oh, okay. So it is like the Wonderlic where they're giving it to everybody.
I don't know. I got to double check. I got to get more information. I think they tailor it differently to different positions. So it's a little different than the Wonderlic. It's more advanced. It's not like, hey, can you multiply 16 times 14?
Yeah.
It's like they show you a bunch of shapes and you have to quickly put them into order. That kind of thing.
Interesting. So patterns and things like that?
Yeah. So Bryce Young, he drops back or he gets the snap. He has to immediately see this pattern in front of him where everyone's moving. So the quicker he can get that triangle next to the square is similar to figuring out a defense.
Like Tetris.
So basically...
Thankfully, I played thousands and thousands of hours of that game.
Daniel Jeremiah and a lot of the mock drafters are now jumping all over this S2 score, which is like the Wonderlic, supposed to be completely confidential and is completely out there.
Do we know anyone else's score besides Bryce Young?
The only one that it's been out is Bryce Young.
Okay.
There was also
if I got a 99, I'd probably be shouting it from the rooftops.
Yeah. So you think he got that out there? But by the way, is there any surprise if you watch Bryce Young play or you hear him talk? Like, this dude just has everything figured out. I mean, he's almost like the perfect person, except for the fact that he's 5'10", 185 pounds.
Yeah. Well, he got up to 204 for the combine, right?
Right.
They asked if they could weigh him at the pro day. He was like, no. It's like me after the Super Bowl. Like, you're not weighing me, but for the other reason.
Think about a lot of the games we watched him play this year, too. It was fourth quarter. Alabama was in a lot of dogfights. He always seemed to make the right play, and he never seemed to feel any pressure. Even games they lost, like LSU and Tennessee, he was always just money. So I'm like you. I don't care about the size. I'm totally going in. If I'm a team, I'm just going on his upside. And then my number 2 pick is Anthony Richardson. Now, do you agree with that? Or would you go Stroud?
No, listen, I think Stroud is obviously the way more complete product, but right. I am also intrigued by Richardson.
Yeah.
Like, I love what he could be.
So, yeah, we're into the project aspect. I totally the same way.
But, depends what's my job security like right now? Like, who am I drafting for next year? Or am I drafting for 5 years from now?
Yeah.
So I'm drafting for 5 years from now, then I'd feel okay taking Richardson. But if my butt's on the hot seat, then I'm probably taking Stroud. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think that's how a lot of general managers behave. They're trying to keep their jobs.
But if you're drafting the top 5, I hope that you're going to be patient.
Well,
you
if you're drafting the top 5, you pretty much suck, except for Seattle, who got in the top 5 because Denver sucked.
Right, which is a whole different calculus. Then what do you do there?
I'm also still not counting out Seattle.
For who?
Maybe a quarterback.
Oh, yeah. For
something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Something's cooking there in Seattle because the way that they structured the Geno Smith contract was extremely team-friendly.
Yeah, extremely 1 year kind of orient, much like Derek Carr in Vegas last year.
Yeah, and then Stu's Raiders. I mean, you get Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's kind of for a year too, right?
Right.
And that's not, I mean, this money is stupid money, but for quarterbacks, it's not totally stupid.
Here's the thing. If I'm Seattle, I'm 5. I'm not giving up a first-round pick to move up to 2, though. I think that would be...
It's probably if they're on your board and they're still available.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree with that. I just don't think that to give up another asset to get up to 2. But if they're going to do it for Anthony Richardson, they might have to.
And listen, they got a ton of draft picks coming their way.
Yeah.
Still.
They gave away a couple for Jamal Adams, right? But then they got a bunch back for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad place to be.
855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. Want to hear from you. Top of the draft. Want to hear from you guys. We know we're on in the Carolinas. People excited about Bryce Young being the next quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. And beyond that, the rest of the draft, if you're sold on these quarterbacks, 855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, we got excuses coming from really the last person we would expect. We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
breaking down and studying those NBA playoff standings. There's also an Eastern Conference here, Maggie, which basically I'd say the national coverage is, can we just fast forward to the Bucks Celtics finals, and then there's the West.
I'm going to be honest. I think the one thing that the NBA, it's just, we got to get to the playoffs here, so we can be reminded about why we love this league.
Well, but it's not. It's only. To me, it's only the Western Conference playoffs. The Eastern Conference playoffs, are there any of those first-round matchups interesting to anybody?
Well, anytime Miami, I know they've been bad, but that's always a team that could be, I feel like, could be dangerous in the playoffs.
Like, it's going to be my Sixers against the Nets. If you're not from Philadelphia or Brooklyn, why are you putting that
gentleman's
series
sweep is not going to be interesting at all. But no, I think that we need, to see guys, something at stake, something on the line. You know, so much of the regular season just feels like everyone's just sleepwalking through it, including the players. Maybe that's a little unfair, because I know guys do play hard. It's just, all right, let's just get to the postseason, because the postseason is another 2 months.
Yeah, it's interesting. The East, one of the teams in the East, the Knicks, has Jalen Brunson is now the star there, really the primary 1A. And to me, I could be totally wrong, it doesn't feel like they have a great chance to advance, because they're built like a really good regular season, which gets us to our next topic, the Dallas Mavericks, Jalen Brunson's former team, who also... I don't know where they're going either. So we could get into Jalen Brunson a little bit. I'm curious, would they have been better off with him? Probably.
Oh, definitely. I think, and Luka even said it, he was asked, how much do you miss Jalen Brunson? And he said a lot.
Right, but they have Kyrie
now, but they haven't been very good since Kyrie was there. I think they're, 7-9-16 since Kyrie got there. So
they haven't had time to make that all come together. Last night he was brilliant.
Yeah, he was very good last night.
So, but generally, tell me more about, I know Jalen Brunson leaving the Mavs was in the news, but I don't understand why
it's being rehashed now.
Why is it being rehashed now, and what else could have been done?
Okay, so I think why it's being rehashed now, if you want to get my take on it, is I think that Mark Cuban is trying to send a message to Luka Doncic, which is odd because he could just talk to Luka. But I think there's an idea that maybe the Mavs didn't do everything they could to try to re-sign Jalen Brunson. So you have Mark Cuban out here yesterday showing text messages to the media between his general manager and between Jalen Brunson's agent, and about how, the Mavs were really negotiating in good faith. There was an idea that the Mavs had offered him something like 4 years and $56 million. Mark Cuban is out here saying that's not right. That's wrong. If we had known the number was going to be $100 million, we absolutely would have matched it. And what else Mark Cuban is complaining about is the fact that the Knicks hired Rick Brunson.
Right.
Jalen Brunson's dad.
The college basketball style. I like it.
Rick Brunson was the very first client ever of Leon Rose when Leon Rose was an agent. Leon Rose now runs the Knicks. So the guy who runs the Knicks hired Jalen Brunson's dad and then paid Jalen Brunson $100 and whatever million to come play for the Knicks. And Mark Cuban is basically saying we were never going to win this fight for Jalen Brunson. We were never going to win it. Look at all the things that happened here. He was going to the Knicks. And I think he's trying to say that to Luka, because that's the only thing I can think of. Because why is he out here defending
Jalen Brunson? Wasn't Jalen Brunson a 14-point-a-game scorer in Dallas? They were going nowhere with Jalen Brunson. What? And I know they keep saying they need a second superstar, or otherwise Luka's going to leave. That wasn't Jalen Brunson.
No, what Jalen Brunson has done and what he's shown why he's so valuable to the Knicks, he organizes the offense.
Oh, come on. It's 2023. You don't need an organizing point guard.
I think that...
They weren't going anywhere with Jalen Brunson in Dallas, were they? Luka dribbles the ball for 20 out of 24 seconds on the 8 minutes of Luka's out of the game. Jalen Brunson was good, but who cares? If Luka's not going to pass the ball, to me, it doesn't matter if he has Jalen Brunson, LeBron James, or I'm Pete Maravich. I'm trying to think of another.
Okay. Dug in the bag there.
I guess my point is it doesn't really matter. Luka is so ball dominant. It feels like they're having a real problem building any kind of team around him.
Okay. Well, be that as it may, but if you're asking what is Jalen, what were they building with Jalen Brunson? They were in the Western Conference Finals last year. They're barely in the play-in tournament this year. Now, I don't think that was all Jalen Brunson, or else he'd be with $250 million. But I think Luka is trying. I think what he said about being honest about missing Jalen Brunson is he obviously was doing something right. There was obviously a clear subtraction because this was a team that went really far last year and was sniffing the finals, and now they've gone the completely opposite direction.
I think, though, that the reality is to do anything with Luka, you need a superstar in there. You need, and one that complements him. You need Anthony Davis with LeBron in 2020.
Right.
Otherwise, I just don't, because the Luka style, it is really hard to find that corresponding, Robin to his Batman. Jalen Brunson was obviously really good and obviously is a really good player, but it didn't matter. I mean, they were just going to be in playoff mediocrity forever with him. Yeah, I know they made the Western Conference Finals last year, but
that's not playoff mediocrity.
I mean, they had no chance of.
And now Jalen Brunson, listen, I'm not saying that he's the most important player in the league, but I'm not saying that at all. But now he goes to the Knicks. Julius Randle has a bounce back year. You add Josh Hart. The young guys are starting to come up a little bit more, and now they're going to be in the 4-5 game. So one team got worse, and the team you went to got better.
Right, but I didn't think. I mean, listen, this is to me called NBA limbo. Did you think that Luka and Jalen Brunson were winning a title in the NBA?
I thought that they would add beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's not like Jalen Brunson got this crazy super max contract. Like I know it's ridiculous, but $100 million contracts, you could have had room for another.
Yeah, I just don't see this Dallas team really they're just built the wrong way. And it's something about Luka. I think somebody has to get through to Luka to change his style of play.
I know.
He's very
change it how?
He's got to watch James Harden play and then do the opposite of him instead of the exact same thing as him. He needs to learn. You know where he should go? He should go play with Golden State and learn how to move the ball and play team basketball because he doesn't do that at all. So Dallas is just problem after problem after problem after problem because of Luka's style of play. And I watched him a lot this year.
Yeah.
He dominates that 24-second clock.
Yeah.
And he did it last year. So nobody ever does anything and never wins a title. It's never won a title, in my opinion, to be that ball dominant guy.
Well, the funny part I thought about Luka saying when he was asked about, a lack of commitment on the defensive end, being kind there, basically blamed it on the fact that he's been playing basketball for 3 straight years because of other commitments to the Slovenian national team and other things. He's like, I've just been playing so much basketball. It's like, well, it's not affecting you on the offensive side. That side is totally fine. I know it's a little less energy expended on that side too.
Yeah, you know what his problem, but I think the really big problem, and I got to pull it up, is he's just such an inconsistent shooter too. Have you ever seen, what's he shoot, 32% for three?
But do you buy that the guy can just be tired?
No.
He's 25 years old. Listen, I'm sure he is, but that's a tough admission when you're a professional athlete.
Yeah, he's just, to me, his style's all wrong. He's James Harden all over again. He's just a complete ball hog. He could score 30 points a game, but he's taking who's he make better on his team? Nobody. Everybody gets worse on his team. Look at what Jalen Brunson did when he got out from under his shadow. Now he's scoring 25 points a game.
Well, the Knicks also need him to score.
Right.
Yeah.
But because he gets to do stuff with the ball. Nobody gets to do anything in Dallas because Luka's just dribbling the ball away. Even Kyrie has been kind of lost there.
And Mark Cuban also saying they love Kyrie and they're going to make every attempt to try to re-sign him. Now, the real question about that is, does he attract other guys in the league to want to come play with him?
Well, Kyrie will never win another playoff game in this NBA. He's terrible. We all agree on that, right? I mean, Kyrie
He'll never win another playoff game?
I mean, Kyrie could take the 98 Bulls and make them a first-round exit. He is just a team killer. Wait, I thought that was established fact. He's a brilliant player.
He'll never win another game?
He'll never win another playoff game. I mean, I don't know the scenario where Kyrie will sink any team he goes to, and he'll do it. It used to take months, now it takes weeks.
The timeline is really sped up. Then why does Mark Cuban want him back so badly?
Well, Cuban clearly doesn't know how to build a team very well. I mean, he could keep Kyrie. Is he really? He says he wants Kyrie back, but if he gets Kyrie back, then obviously Luka's gone after next year, is it? When is?
It's just a matter of time.
There's no debate about Kyrie Irving being a complete team killer anymore. I thought every NBA fan.
The team killer, I just thought to say he'll never win another playoff game again is kind of crazy. But no, he obviously leaves. He's not an ad. You cannot say that he's a value add at this point to every team he's gone to.
Important caveat. He could win a play-in tournament game.
Those don't count as playoff games. They're still
okay. Good. But Dallas, if they get out, I could be wrong on this as early as this year. I just feel like at certain point, aren't they getting tired of bringing in Kyrie? Isn't this?
Can we put that as a poll question? Will Kyrie Irving ever win another playoff game?
Well, listen, anyone from Boston or Brooklyn or Cleveland, I'm trying to think, or Dallas will clearly vote no.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We got one player making a sales pitch on behalf of himself. What does that sound like? You'll hear it next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Well, this may be the nicest weather day in Augusta, and what a day it has been so far at the opening round of the Masters, where Jon Rahm four-putted the first hole, but then came back with 7 birdies and an eagle. He is tied for the lead with Victor Hovland at 7 under par, 2 shots better than Sam Burns, Brooks Koepka, and Cameron Young. Defending champ Scottie Scheffler at 3 under through 10 for his opening round. Rory McIlroy at 1 over through 9, and Tiger Woods was 2 over today for his opening round. Baseball action today. The Tigers fall in their home opener, losing to the Red Sox by a score of 6-3. Chris Sale gets the win for Boston. Rafael Devers and Adam Duvall with home runs in the victory. Right now, top of the 9th, the Blue Jays trying to finish off the Royals, leading 6-3. Bobby Wood Jr. with a home run for Kansas City, his first. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his second for Toronto. The Giants continue to be homer happy. They have 4 today, including the second each for Michael Conforto and Mike Yastrzemski. They lead the White Sox 10-3 in the top of the 8th. No score between the Nationals and Rockies in Colorado, bottom 2. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Right after Zach Gelb and before After Hours, it's the all-new JR Sport Brief, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie Perloff, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, we'll get to one former MVP advocating for himself, basically trying to put a resume out there in just a second. It's a little odd. You'll hear it in just a moment. But I came across this, and I knew this would be near and dear to you, Perloff, because it's springtime.
Yeah.
You're an allergy sufferer.
Yes.
Yes. And I feel terrible for you about that.
Actually, no. Okay. I am, but I take shots, so I'm good this spring.
Oh, okay. So you're good. So apparently 1 in 4 hay fever sufferers believe that people think they're making up their symptoms.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds about right.
But like itchy eyes, red eyes, how do you fake that kind of a symptom? I'm not an allergy sufferer, thank goodness. My brother is terrible. I'm not. I'm just the...
So you're saying you can walk amongst pollen and you don't get sneezy?
I'm saying that fresh cut grass is one of my favorite smells.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's crazy to me. Fresh cut grass. I would sooner
lay on a bed of nails.
I would sooner walk through a nuclear reactor than go through a field of fresh cut grass.
No, I can't get enough of it. I wish I had like candles that smell like it and all that stuff.
So people think everybody who is suffering allergies, or at least
some people
are faking it. I think my daughter is.
You think she's faking it?
Yeah, I know she's not listening right now, and I won't say which daughter. She sometimes tries to get out of homework because it's pollen season. I'm like, you look fine. She's like, the pressure in my head. I'm like, where'd you read that? TikTok?
TikTok. Yeah, so TikTok is telling you how to fake having hay fever.
I don't know. What are some of the symptoms that people would be faking? You can't fake red eyes. You can't fake sneezing.
Yeah, so apparently, the itchy red watery eyes. So I guess you could eye drop it like you're a bad actor.
But just rub your eyes a little bit and they can make it red.
I guess, you could smoke something, make it red, but I'm not advocating for that. Stuffy nose, frequent sneezing. I don't know how you fake that. Loss of a sense of smell, facial pain, earaches, I guess is some of the lesser known stuff. But yeah, people who have allergies think people who don't, the non-allergy people, that we don't believe you. I just don't. I don't know. Are you guys allergy sufferers?
I was an allergy sufferer when I was younger. I kind of grew out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Yeah, it was always the eyes, and I'd always get like, what are you doing? Are you smoking something? Yeah, I'm like, no, I just have allergies.
I think you're faking it.
And Carlos is 1 out of 4 of us who doesn't believe that story was true. So we're right on the average.
So they don't exist.
Yeah, it's a hoax made up by the mainstream media.
I have to be honest. I thought everybody was allergic to pollen. I didn't think that would only certain people.
I got nothing.
So fresh cut grass, that's one thing.
I love it.
But pollen is totally has nothing to do with
I've never noticed one symptom. I
Really?
consider myself lucky because I've always lived in a 4-season environment.
Wait, and you guys have no reaction to pollen?
I used to when I was younger, but not anymore.
I don't think I do it at all.
I thought that was everybody. I thought that was just the world was allergic to pollen. I didn't know that only certain people were. That's great for you guys.
Been walking around just like, sunshine and rainbows over here.
Yay, springtime.
Yay.
Yeah, the Army sends me somewhere remotely every year for annual training. So I'm like in Georgia or Missouri or some other state in the South. I'm always in the field. I never have a reaction to pollen or anything like that.
Wow. Can you tell us have you been anywhere overseas too, or is it just domestic?
That I can't talk about.
Okay.
It's classified.
Got it.
Oh, man, Carlos.
Wow.
That's cool.
No, I'm joking. I did one tour in Iraq. That was like 15 months. I don't talk about it just because I was there for so long. I got hit with stop loss. I was only supposed to be there for 9 months. I got hit with 15 because there was not enough fresh bodies coming in compared to going out. So I hate that year.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. That's got to be awful. Well, we won't bring that up for you on the air. But
probably not a lot of pollen over there, though, right?
No, a lot of sand, though. So if you mess around and you get in trouble, you get extra duty, they have you in the front just sweeping sand, which is an impossible task because it's everywhere.
That's a punishment, is sweeping sand?
That is a real punishment.
Oh, my gosh. There's got to be something that's more that it can be a punishment but also be productive.
Well, in stateside, you can paint rocks.
Is that true?
That is a punishment as well, Fort Benning.
I got to be honest. I think that's kind of soothing,
Painting a little smiley face.
I mean, Easter's around the corner. You get practice on the rocks instead of messing up the eggs.
Well, my kid paints rocks. We do I haven't colored with a crayon in 25 years until I had a kid. So some of that stuff you can find really, it's therapeutic.
One thing, too, by the way, on the pollen.
That's not how they meant it, I bet.
That you wouldn't know. My allergist, Dr. Vassallo, I like to name drop my doctors. He
make
said
Dr. Positano jealous.
If you lived in Phoenix, you would never ever suffer allergies because in the desert, all the things that cause allergies do not live.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so he said move to Phoenix. I'm like, I can't move to Phoenix because I'm also incredibly pale and I would sunburn too badly. And
It's a yin and a yang.
He didn't know what to say. So
You stopped him in his tracks.
There's really no perfect place for me to be physically.
Not the moon or something.
Yeah,
no allergies.
There's no allergies. No sun. Well, actually, I don't know. You could get a pretty bad moonburn. No, yes. So that's interesting that people are lying. I mean, I agree with that. I'm in the camp. Because I think people generally lie about a lot of things. So this could be a good one.
I don't know. I guess, you could lie about it. I'm not sure. It'd be easier to fake than my leg's broken.
I think some people see something about pollen on the news and just sort of, the news gets it in their head that sorry.
You okay? Well done.
I just got pollen.
And the Oscar goes to McLovin.
He had me for a second.
I actually did have something in my throat, but then I was like, I'm going to play this up for pollen. It seemed like I did it on purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot of pollen in this airtight studio.
But I do feel like you see something on the news and immediately you think, oh, I have to have that.
Oh, a little hypochondria because of what the news has. Yeah. And the news hasn't been awesome lately. I guess, is it ever awesome? But...
Well, this is terrible, though. As an allergy sufferer, and not that I don't take it totally seriously, when the COVID symptoms came out, I'm like, oh, I have that, I have that, I have that. Oh, fatigue. Fatigue. Oh, yeah, I definitely have that.
Oh, my gosh, fatigue. Please.
A lot of the COVID symptoms are just called a Tuesday for a lot of us, so that was very confusing. And in all
Some of the
seriousness,
mild ones, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to bring COVID back as a topic, but that's why it was so confusing, because all the symptoms were so universal.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have
thought you had it at any time.
Right. Before there were tests, it was really hard to tell what was going on.
You're so right.
And allergies are very similar symptoms. So
that's so funny. You see things on the news and then think you're going to have it.
Yeah.
Are you guys like that too?
That's
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be anything.
Wow,
There's not one thing. It could be anything.
Wow. This is like, all right, a tree fell on somebody's roof, and you're just like, uh-oh.
Oh, that's me.
3, 2, 1, here it comes.
Yeah, I mean, think of the symptoms of most things. Anything that says fatigue is a symptom.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a young parent. You have every disease under the book.
And we have.
Yeah, you have.
Thankfully, my kid stopped putting his fingers in his mouth. We've had fewer, but not by a lot. But no, the one thing that was, remember with the monkeypox? That was a scare for a little bit. That had some symptoms that were not the same.
I thought that was a rash, right?
Yeah, it's like a rash.
Yeah,
Maybe that one scared me a little bit. I was like, oh, man, monkeypox. But
monkeypox is a scary name.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really. That one didn't do anything for me.
Okay. No. Just the other things that make you a hypochondriac.
I mean, I'll be honest. It was March of 2020, and I was reading all the symptoms of COVID.
Yeah.
And then I got COVID in March of 2020. I'm like, I think I actually have COVID, but there was no way to tell.
You were in the first wave.
I was in the first wave, and then my doctor's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely have COVID," and I'm like, "Oh, I just thought that I was a hypochondriac. I was fine, thank God."
Yeah. No, that's funny. You watch things on the news and immediately think they're going to happen to you. There's got to be a name for that. Association or something. Anyway, 855-212-4CBS. Doesn't have to be a psychological thing of that. You see something, you think it's going to happen to you. Is that called living?
I'm manifesting it.
Manifesting it, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought everybody was like that, but I guess you're not like that?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't know. Let's get to Cam Newton, shall we? Cam Newton, who I think this is his own podcast. Sure. He was in a house in maybe his room, a room in his house, pardon me, that has like a font that he uses, like Wingdings. Do you guys notice that he uses Wingdings, the font?
What?
Okay. Someone out there listening to the sound of my voice.
It's a real font. Understood
what I was talking about. It happened to be Carlos. Okay.
But wait, I don't understand. So it's this thing that I saw the video. That's his house?
I think it's a room in his house.
And he dressed up like that in his house?
Well, Cam's always dressed like that. And by that, we mean the cool hat and the suit and the glasses. Like, he's always dressed to the nines.
Okay, we'll play the clip. But I thought this was some show he was on. I can't believe he would be just doing that for his own podcast.
It's his own
awesome.
podcast.
It's own podcast, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, he's got a room, and for some reason, he's addicted to this Wingdings font.
Yeah. Wow.
I know.
The production value for doing a podcast in your house is unbelievable.
Okay, so he's pretty rich. So Cam Newton advocating for himself, willing to be a backup, and started naming some names.
This is how I feel. There ain't 32 guys that's better than me. But I also know that I could also be a backup, and I'm willing to be a backup. Players that I will back up. Number one, I'll back up Deshaun Watson. My number two person will be wherever Lamar Jackson decides to go. Number three will be Justin Fields, another C1N product. Number four will be Tua Tagovailoa. Number five will be Malik Willis.
Okay, well, I don't think Malik Willis is the starter, but okay. This is such an interesting approach to trying to get a job. First of all, a lot of these spots have been filled. Like, these guys have backups for the most part. I'm not actually sure who Deshaun's backup is right now because Jacoby Brissett moved on to the Commanders, but everyone else pretty much has a backup. Anyway, it's not just guys who are in the league already that he wants to back up. He could also help with some rookies too.
Number 7, Jalen Hurts. Number 8 would be Aaron Rodgers. Number 9 would be Josh Allen. And number 10 would be Sam Howell, another C1N alumni. But when you think about the list, it's really to the point. Now, some of those guys may already have penciled in backups that the franchise is probably okay with, and that's fine. I'm just voicing my opinion, and I'm just getting the narrative out.
All right, sorry. So that was other established guys that he'd be willing to back up. Here's some rookies he'd be willing to back up.
Say there's 3 rookie quarterbacks that I would love or enjoy to groom. Any of these rookie quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. Any one of those guys, I would be happy to back those guys up.
It's basically half the league. More than half. He just named basically every quarterback in the league. Cam just wants a job.
He put all the Georgia guys that he knows who all looked up to him in the top 5 because Justin Fields and Malik Willis grew up. He mentioned his camp, but also I know, and Deshaun Watson, they all had Cam Newton posters on their wall, and they all talk about it. So these are his friends, too. So I thought that was a little weak. But then he doesn't even know who has a backup when he made this podcast.
No.
He couldn't be bothered to look at any of the situations.
Depth charts are not something you bother Cam Newton with.
Right.
And by the way, Josh Dobbs, thank you, Stu, is the backup for Deshaun Watson.
Oh, wait, another Georgia guy, ironically.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I just love the confidence of Cam Newton that he's like, I can't be bothered to pull up the depth chart on ESPN.com. I'm going to back up these guys. They may have established backups. I don't care. I'm Cam Newton.
Clearly, I'm better than all of those backups.
And by the way, and he knows he's better than some of those starters, too, which is the other funny part.
Well, he did say there's no way that there are 32 quarterbacks better than him. I hate to say it about Cam. The tape lately hasn't been great, though. So are there 32 better than him? Probably not. But has Cam been good lately? Also, no, unfortunately. I just think this is so funny. It's like, Cam, I think all these teams probably know you're available.
Yeah, the problem is, even if he hasn't played well, he's a big presence, the backup quarterback. Is that what you want?
Did he not mention Mahomes?
No, I guess not. He mentioned Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he said Rodgers.
Let's see. We'll double check.
Why leave off Mahomes? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on Cam's list if you want. Number one pick in the draft, reportedly, it's in. We'll tell you who next.
You're in a 5-minute. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Even if your team wins, let alone the losses, then you kind of like go wherever you got to go into your dark place.
Wait. What do you mean you go into your dark place? What does that mean?
Where do you go?
I don't go into my dark place. That sounds like you have a cave in your basement where you just sit and sulk.
She's Batman?
Yeah, without the crime fighting.
It actually sounds closer to Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
A little closer, yeah.
This dark place.
You don't go into a dark place when the Eagles lose?
I don't think
just
you do.
Endlessly scrolling, just like hoping that somehow the outcome changes through
so different because
media.
the last time the Eagles had that magnitude of game, they won. So I can't really relate to what it's like to have Super Bowl expectations and blow lead. So no, my dark place is not quite as dark because there's been light down there.
Amazing.
Unlike your dark place.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
All facts. Maggie and Perloff hanging out with you. It's been a wild day today. Got some news coming in. Tiger finishes 2 over in his first round at the Masters. After his first round, Perloff said he's still hopeful. Still hopeful. So we'll see if there's any magic left for Tiger here. But the way Jon Rahm's playing right now and the way that some of these other guys are playing, I don't know about Tiger this time around.
No, it sure doesn't feel like a Tiger year.
No.
And that's okay. I think, as David Dusek pointed out earlier in the show from Golfweek, these are big enough names, and I think we can be captivated. It's not going to be somebody that we have no experience with. I mean, this is day one. Who knows? But I'm fine. I could do a Jon Rahm Sunday.
Because you put a bet
Jon
on
Rahm, Scotty Scheffler. And listen, Brooks Koepka, because he's with Liv, I think that would be a captivating
That would be
storyline.
interesting for sure, especially considering the bad blood right now between Liv, the PGA Tour, and all of that. So we've got the Masters going on for you as Rahm is 7 under, tied with Hovland and Brooks Koepka. So we got a lot going on in Augusta. Also got some news. How about this? Jets signed a quarterback. Well, it's Tim Boyle. I'm sorry. The Aaron Rodgers watch is going to have to.
Tim Boyle, it's a step in the Aaron Rodgers process. You do not bring in Tim Boyle onto your team if you do not think Aaron Rodgers is going to be on that team.
No, but there's also, that is a even sadder indictment of Zach Wilson. It's like, we can't even trust that you can be the backup here. We've got to bring in Boyle.
Well, I don't know
what the depth chart's going to be like.
Yeah, I think Tim Boyle is basically like an assistant coach.
He's 28, so he's not that old.
Right, but he knows the Nathaniel Hackett offense, and he's like a caddy to Aaron Rodgers, as I understand.
Okay.
So he's a whoopee for Aaron Rodgers. I like that. I always like having that guy. Doug Peterson was always that guy for the Eagles. He's that guy who.
And for Favre.
Yeah, for Favre, right. Who you don't think can really do anything, but he can still, be support to the quarterback. Case Keenum could be that guy. He was a support last year to Josh Allen.
Case is great at that.
Yeah,
He's generally positive dude.
Yeah, you need a locker room is a complex thing. To me, this means Aaron Rodgers is coming soon, right? It's happening. I know yesterday we got into this other team, San Francisco, dipping their toes in. I'm telling you, I read the Tim Boyle headline. Done. He's here. He's in New York. Yeah, he's coming to New York.
I mean, listen, they're doing whatever Rodgers wants. They're going to sign Odell if Rodgers wants. If Rodgers wants, this is his team now, and the Jets are more than willing to hand it over to him.
What if they bring over all these Aaron Rodgers guys, and then Aaron himself doesn't come?
Yeah, they signed Alan Lazard, for goodness sakes.
Actually, I mean that's better. They're basically wait till they bring in Randall Cobb. You're going to have Zach Wilson throw to Randall Cobb next year.
Randall Cobb is going to be on that team.
Yes,
come hell or high water, that dude is going to be on the team. Rodgers is a godparent to his kids or whatever.
Yeah.
He's going to be on that team.
Al Lazard, I think, is actually a a young, good player. I think a lot of teams would have wanted him. I'm not saying he's a Rodgers thing. It's happening. It's got to happen soon, though, because my attention span is shot on this story.
We all want to just basically...
We're dying to move on.
Yeah, we need to move on.
So we can all just focus on Lamar Jackson instead.
Yes, we can focus on Lamar Jackson, another never-ending, unceasing contract dispute that we all get delighted to.
It's 3 years, going on 3 years, 3 years of Aaron Rodgers. What are we going to do when those guys are signed and happy?
Something tells me we'll be able to figure it out. We got this sort of out of the blue today, 2 out of the blue things. Mm-hmm. Number one, Chris Mortensen, pretty confident that the number 1 pick in the NFL draft is going to be Bryce Young. Said that on ESPN today, that he believes the pick is in, that it's Bryce Young. This is not going to be a situation where the Panthers traded all the way up to number 1 just to have, like what happened with the 49ers, hey, maybe we want this guy, maybe we want this guy. They are steadfast that people in the building think it's going to be Bryce Young. I buy it. I worry about Bryce Young and his future in the league. I would not draft a guy that's under 6 feet tall and about 200 pounds on his best day. That wouldn't be me. But all accounts, and we watched him play at Alabama, he's got all the skill in the world, and he's got all the intangibles.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation there. Scott Fitterer, the GM, is definitely on the hot seat. In fact, I'm actually a little surprised he's still there.
Yeah.
And the talent is a bit thin. They traded away DJ Moore. So now in that deal to get up to number 1, there's just not a lot of, and they traded away Christian McCaffrey last year during the season. So there's not a lot of offensive firepower for Bryce Young. They have a really good defense.
Don't forget, they added Adam Thielen this offseason and DJ Chark. I know. I'm being sarcastic there.
Yeah. So it's again, will they be patient enough to let Bryce Young, or do they expect them to win right now? They're in a weak division, but there definitely should be a young up-and-coming team. I'm not sure where it goes. I have a feeling that they're not going to be great.
Listen,
my guy Andy Dalton's there, but
I forgot about it. And Andy's there, of course, speaking of backups now. Although Andy started basically the whole year last year.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He could end up starting part of this season, too, with Bryce Young there.
He might, but at least I'll say this for the Panthers. Have the conviction. You traded up from 9. Let this be the guy you wanted. You go through the pre-draft process, probably just confirmed what you already knew. I thought they were taking Bryce Young the moment they made that trade, and so there you go. We got another odd bit of news today, and we can talk about Houston and what happens now at the top of the draft, but we got another odd bit of news today. It was kind of news from the department of didn't even know anyone was thinking about this, and this is Tyreek Hill. Told us today he's thinking about retirement.
I'm going for 10, man. I'm gonna finish out this contract with the Dolphins, man, and then I'm gonna call it quits. I want to go into the business side. You want
to be in the coaching too, right?
Yeah, but not for long though. I want to do so many things in my life, bro.
I'm gonna be honest. Not something I'd want to hear if I'm the guy who gave him $100 million or whatever it was. I'm not trying to hear about how the other things that you're trying to do in your life. I'm really kind of hoping you're super duper focused on the football side of this right now.
Yeah, at least he said he'd play out the contract. I mean, Tyreek Hill is getting up there anyway. He doesn't have that many years of productive. I'm sure Miami would love to see him walk out the door after this contract. They do not want to have to pay him at 33 years old because Tyreek Hill's going to slow down. They did say, I listened to most of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredibly entertaining because the 3 of them had played together in Kansas City. It was Anthony Sherman, the fullback. I don't know the other player, but they were just total friends. They said Tyreek is a maniac at working out. They were like, we all knew, listen, you're just a freak. You work out harder than anybody.
I mean, that kind of comes through.
And they also said in practice, he took every rep like life or death. So I don't know if they might have been just blowing smoke because he was on their podcast. It was a big get for them. But they described a pretty intense competitor. Now, I'm not a huge Tyreek Hill fan as a person.
Yeah.
But it is interesting as a player. He's just such a game changer. There's no doubt.
Here's my question about finishing up this contract. I'm just taking a look here at one of these nerdy contract sites that people like Perloff and I have to use for our jobs. So the Dolphins do have an out after 2024. Is that what he's talking about, or is he talking about the end of 2026 when he's 32 years old?
I'm not sure.
Who gets to decide? Like, is he playing this whole thing out all the way to the end, or is he talking about after next year he wants to call it quits?
I thought he said. I thought it came out that he's retiring after 2025.
But that doesn't add up to what his contract actually is. Either there's an out after 2024 or he's an unrestricted free agent after 2026. Nothing about 2025. That's just a regular old contract year, according to Spotrac.
Okay, according to his current contract runs through 2026, but the final season was added to spread out the signing bonus.
Okay.
The Dolphins would save $45 million by releasing Hill before then.
Okay, so 2025, that's the day.
Yeah, they added 26 to spread out the bonus hit.
So that's just a dummy year. Okay. Also, does he want like a... I mean, he's just being honest here, but something tells me he wants like... you know, when certain guys retire, they want the big hoopla.
Goodbye tour. No,
yeah, the goodbye tour. Thank you, Stu.
No one's doing a Tyreek Hill goodbye tour.
I don't think they will.
He does not want that. That was not the. If you listen to this podcast, that was not the sense.
Like, all right, everybody, here's the ending date for the cheetah. So, you know, get your gifts for me. Give me a rocking chair and like a pair of cowboy boots and stuff every place I go.
That thing you said about how he might be focused on other projects, I'm not worried about that for a couple of reasons. One, he does stay in incredible shape. B, it's not like a quarterback. Does a wide receiver really need to focus 12 months a year to hone his game?
You want to know what's funny?
Yeah.
It's a great question because you and I both worked with Amani Toomer.
Yeah, sure.
Former Giants wide receiver. We did a show back at Sports Illustrated called Pro Football Now, and it was a lot of fun. And Amani was great. And our friend Don Banks, who we miss every day. And Amani once told us, I don't know if you remember this, it's like playing wide receiver, like, that's not that hard.
Of course not.
Like,
you run out and catch the ball.
It's not that hard. What about like the route tree and all the combos and everything? And he's like, no, it's not. I forgot who we were talking about at the time. It was somebody who like was having trouble like with the playbook, I guess, or something. And he's like, that can't be true.
Yeah,
or at least from him. Listen, Amani went to Michigan, smart guy, obviously. But he was like, it's not that hard. It's not it's an easy thing to grasp.
Of course, it's a wide receiver. It's just the fastest guy on the field goes to wide receiver, right?
I just thought it was funny because sometimes I think we build up football to be this big, complicated, you know. And there are so many layers. You got 22 guys on the field. Everyone's got a different job. Right. So yeah, it is complicated. But I think sometimes we build it up like, it's really hard to grasp. It's like, nah, it's not. Wide receiver is super easy.
Right. But we view different positions, obviously, way differently. Quarterback's the one where you have to be, on top of things.
Najee Harris told us running back.
Yeah.
You have to be, that's the toughest position.
I mean, there is no doubt that running back is the easiest position. There is just anyone how many rookies have been amazing as running backs?
A lot of them.
Right, because all you have to do is just get the ball and go to the hole and run.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're right. There was that thing that it took a long time for wide receivers to learn how to play in the NFL. That's sort of changed now, rookies. But what is the rule? As you get closer to the ball, you have to be smarter, or as you get farther away from the ball, you have to be smarter? You've heard that, right? I can't remember. One of the two, the brains, as you move, I think the safety has to be the smartest guy on defense. And as you get closer to the ball, you get dumber. Because there's nothing to do.
Listen, you're basically calling out all the offensive linemen there, and they're not going to be happy with you.
I'm saying on defense. The offensive linemen famously have the high GPAs, but on defense, basically, at safety, you make all kinds of decisions, and then linebackers have to make all kinds of decisions.
I thought the middle linebacker was like kind of the quarterback of the defense usually.
Right. Then the linemen, go.
You have your assignment.
Yes.
Get to the quarterback.
Kill a quarterback or just get this guy in front of you. Anyway, Tyreek Hill, he's going to be fine. I actually had a thought about Tyreek Hill. Tell me what you think of this.
Yeah.
They traded him last year to the Dolphins. What was the draft pick? Does anyone remember?
I thought it was 2 second rounders.
It was a first rounder, right? I thought. So 23, I believe.
Okay, continue your point.
Should other teams have jumped in and tried to get Tyreek Hill last year?
Well, the Jets did, and they let Tyreek Hill choose the Jets or Miami, and he chose Miami.
What about contenders? I was thinking it didn't take much to get Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams last year. There's so many teams who could have been awesome with Tyreek Hill.
I know, but then they had to pay him.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have paid Tyreek Hill?
All the Chiefs didn't want to.
Say your Bills, for example. I know. Why didn't they want to go after Tyreek Hill? Or why didn't they want to go after Devontae Adams? Why did the contenders go for him?
I don't know. I mean, probably for the Bills because they already have one very high-priced wide receiver.
Oh, you can't.
And that's like salary allocation probably. Stephon Diggs makes a ton of money. Stu, you got it?
I do. It was a 1, a 2, 2 4s, and a 6.
Right. So that's a good point. You can't have two incredibly highly priced wide receivers.
I don't think that's probably great salary allocation.
But why would the Cowboys have gone after Tyreek Hill for a first-round pick? That doesn't seem like a lot. No. I just was remembering last year that Hill and Adams went and didn't cost so much. And now Rodgers.
I thought the Jets, maybe it was the Jets were offering 2 second-rounders, but it was a high second-rounder. So basically the Chiefs were like basically same.
Yeah, that sounds
something
right.
like that. Yeah,
that sounds right. And why is Aaron Rodgers not going for a first-rounder? I feel like these expensive guys, just teams are not giving up draft capital.
Well, we know why Rodgers isn't.
The money, right?
Well, I think the money, but also he could retire, so it'd only be one season. At least with Tyreek Hill, you knew you were getting a couple years.
Yeah, I would just say I had a random thought in the shower today that more teams should have gone in on Tyreek Hill. Why just the Dolphins and Jets? He was unbelievable. He had 119 catches.
Well, listen, did anyone know, like, how many people knew A.J. Brown was available? I think more people would have gone after him as well. How come the Eagles got to, be the ones to trade for A.J. Brown?
Yeah, that's a great point.
You got tons of teams who need wide receiver help.
Well, are we going to look back next year and say, why didn't more teams want to get in on Aaron Rodgers? Why did more teams not want to get in on Lamar Jackson? I think very
Rodgers to me is a mystery why there aren't more teams, because it is a short-term investment. In some ways, I think you can look at that as a positive.
Yeah, why not Miami?
I saw this in the darkness when I went in my own darkness retreat. I saw the Dolphins.
Your darkness retreat was perfectly logical. It's just a mystery to me why more teams aren't going in for these veteran superstars, even if they're expensive.
I mean, Lamar listen, right now, that contract looks crazy expensive. Yeah. After Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts get paid, it might not look that bad.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of teams. You're going to take somebody in the top 10, and 50% of those guys totally bust, and you might look back and say, hey, we could add Lamar Jackson.
It's a mystery why no team has. It is a mystery on one hand, and it's not. I think the money, I think maybe the style that he plays, and then I also think it's other teams don't want to, they don't want to put themselves out there and make an offer just to have the Ravens be like, oh, that's good, we'll match it. Thanks, bye-bye. I think they don't want to look dumb.
I guess so. Also, DeAndre Hopkins, people don't want to trade for him either.
I think the medicals must be off on him because they released him, right? They're about to?
They're about to release him, right?
I think it's the medicals. Something must be up with that.
I think so, but I don't know. If people knew Tyreek Hill was still going to be the best receiver in the league, you're telling me more teams didn't want to get in on that? It's just crazy to me.
I know. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think a lot of people wanted to give him $100 million, quite frankly.
Okay.
I mean, he's worth it as a football player.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a terrible contract. Now we know he's walking away and not going to cause any trouble afterwards.
What's the first business that Tyreek Hill starts?
I have no idea.
Running shoes?
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously got a second career in the over 40 track world.
Oh yeah, when he dusted all those normies. Yeah,
that was so awesome.
Was it though?
It was awesome to watch, and awesome to find out later that he wasn't going against real track athletes.
Yeah, I mean. He showed up and I was like, wow, watch Tyreek Hill at this track and field event, and he just completely dusts the whole field, and that's like, well, look. Let's take a little bit closer look at the people he was racing against. It wasn't exactly Usain Bolt up there.
One guy had to borrow shoes right before or something.
It's like, it's not.
There you go. Tyreek Hill, fascinating.
This way, they weren't professional athletes, the other guys, and he is.
What a strange day to dive into Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's because of him, but.
It's the news we never knew we wanted. Coming up, a coach and his player trading shots in the media. That's not good. Bringing the details in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, or of course streaming on the free Odyssey app or on Sirius XM channel 158 and across the country on these incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. In a moment, Maggie, I will share something very important. The absolute key to happiness.
You have it?
I have it.
You just have it laying around?
I have it right in front of me on the interwebs, and it is a simple formula for happiness.
Okay, wow. Hold on that for a second. Let's get to Bob, who's in Hawaii at 855-212-4CBS. What's up, Bob?
Oh, just my opinion. I think most teams don't want Rodgers and Jackson for the drama that goes with it. I know I'm sick of it myself. So I don't want to hear about what they're going to do, if they're going to do something. If I was a team owner, why would I want all that with it? Yeah.
Bob, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you for the call. I think Key to Happiness might be living in Hawaii. But the problem with that is we have seen teams who have bent over backwards for guys who are way bigger problems and drama and all of that than Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
And I don't even know Lamar Jackson's really drama. This contract thing has been drama.
Well, I mean, he has
been tweeting about it.
He's been saying some negative things about the team. It's the first time actually really in his career that he's been dramatic. I do think there's a lot of drama with Aaron Rodgers. I think maybe more so than any player in the history of the NFL. But it's not, it's drama. It's kind of harmless drama. No, I mean, listen, there's obviously players. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has done anything wrong. This is very serious criminal stuff.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm talking about. People bend over backwards for those guys.
But the day-to-day drama of Rodgers is pretty good.
Well, I also think the day-to-day drama with Rodgers is also the last 18 years with the organization. You know, if it's like a year or two, this is like, it's like a bad marriage now. It's like it's built up. So it's not just about the last thing. It's like about you didn't pick up your socks 10 years ago. And also, I hate you.
Right. I think there's going to be stories that come out of Green Bay eventually where Aaron Rodgers was difficult to some people in the front office for a long time.
We're definitely getting the expose. Remember, we got the Mike McCarthy expose that he was getting, well, now to say this because of Deshaun. Remember, he was getting like a massage in his office while the team meeting was going on? We're going to definitely get stuff.
Definitely not the image I want in my head.
Cody is in Oregon before Perloff tells us the key to happiness. Cody, what's up?
Hey, guys. Love your show. Excited to be on with you.
Thank you.
So I need your guys' help wrapping my head around something that has something to do with the NFL draft. What if I was to tell you guys there was someone that beat Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud the last time he played all of them?
Yeah, I know who it is.
2 national championships, he was the MVP. The last 2 college football playoffs, he was the MVP. And there is absolutely no talk of him going even, remotely close to a first, second round pick? How is that possible? There's in college football history, there's never been someone not talked about with those stats. I don't understand it.
Can I just make a full confession here, Cody? I thought you were talking about Hendon Hooker until I looked at the call screener. You're talking about Stetson Bennett.
He was definitely talking about the 2 national championships.
Hooker beat them all. Yeah, I was there. I saw it. But, and I think, hey, listen, there's some validity to what he's saying.
Yep.
And I do think Stetson Bennett has had a roller coaster ride draft stock. Yes, there was the arrest, which hurt him. But then there's a lot of reports of teams who are fascinated by him. He's a little older. But I don't think teams are scared of that. I think he's going to go a little higher. We made a bet sometime.
The day after the championship.
Oh, the day. Who would go higher, TCU's Max Duggan or Georgia's Stetson Bennett? I took Duggan. I'd like to switch on that bet.
No, I'm taking Bennett, and I'm feeling real good about it.
But Duggan's got the ultimate agent, though.
Oh, what's that?
He's got Jerry Jones telling everybody, this kid, Max Duggan, man, he can play some football.
The attempt at the accents.
That was Bill Clinton.
That was good. Yeah, it was a little Bill.
So there are, Max Duggan also ran a 4.5 240. Stetson he's working out. He's got the Will Levis thing. He does not own any shirts with sleeves. He's in really good shape.
Yeah.
I think
when you throw the ball for a living, you don't want sleeves to be in your way.
I think teams are going to be higher than we might have thought on him. I think he goes maybe in the first half of the draft. Do you think he falls all the way?
I think he's a day 2 guy.
Yeah, I mean, day 2, I think he's right. Or third.
So I think it's either in the middle of the second round, something like that.
Oh, that
or
seems high.
Top of the third.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Middle of the second.
Maybe late second.
All right. That feels aggressive, but sure.
Listen, I didn't understand it either. Like, no one was ever high on Stetson Bennett.
Well, he threw 20 touchdowns last year. I mean, for a college quarterback, he didn't have big numbers.
No, he didn't have big numbers, but they were still undefeated.
Yeah.
I mean, still I don't know. I just think if we any other 2-time national champion
Well,
I think we'd be talking about them as a major college prospect. Carlos is shaking his head. You don't see it.
No, it's defense and running back for Georgia. That was the formula for the national championship. I don't have Stetson going nearly as high as you do.
I know, but I would say in the first national championship, I mean, he really was responsible for kickstarting that comeback. I mean, listen, the second national championship, they just waxed TCU. That was just over. What was the final score? Like 65 to something. I mean, they were.
It was a lot to a little.
62 to 7, right?
Was that what it was?
He had 27 touchdowns last year, but still obviously not C.J. Stroud numbers or anything like that. He's 25. Maybe that's a reason for him to fall.
Well, Hendon Hooker's also 25.
Yeah, and we don't know yet. There's a lot of hype on Hendon Hooker, but he could fall for that reason. So he's also small. How tall is he? 5'11"? Is he 6 feet tall? It's again, yeah, I can understand the arguments for and against.
But basically, you're drafting him to be a backup, so it's not. I don't think it's
mid-second round.
Well,
he's 5'11".
He's 5'11".
Yeah, he's 5'11". So all those elements, I think, play into it.
Okay, you had our keys to happiness.
Keys to happiness: winning a national title. No, okay,
winning 2. By the way, did you just really quickly? Did you see the Stetson Bennett arrest video?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it seemed like he was very shocked when the police officers told him he was indeed in Dallas, Texas. Did not seem like he knew where he was. Beyond that, that was the only memorable moment for me.
Yeah, and it's not like he's a 19-year-old kid. He's 25. He should have a mortgage by now. I'm just kidding. Okay, so the Harvard University, you've heard of it. They did a study for 84 years. 84 years of data on how to be happy.
Wow.
And they found, okay, and I'm going to read it directly.
Wouldn't it change a lot? Like, what made you happy 84 years ago versus what makes you happy now? It's the same?
Well, here's
okay.
It's not career achievement. It's not exercise or a healthy diet.
Thank God.
Don't get us wrong. These things matter a lot. But one thing continuously demonstrate its broad and enduring importance. Would you care to guess what that is?
Oh, man, it's going to be something syrupy. Just like a good friends. I don't know, something like
Good relationships keeps us healthier and happier. Here are 9 tips from the study. 1, take stock of your relationships. Maybe like
wait, that made you go yee?
It says every New Year's do an inventory of your friends or something. That sounds kind of lame.
Well, I mean, don't you feel though, as I get older, I feel very lucky that I have really good, close friends.
Yeah.
But it's not like as many friends as I had in college. Like in some ways they kind of whittle down, but they're better and deeper relationships.
Right. But does that mean you want to take a day a year and write them all? It says write them down on paper and look at how you've done with them over the last 12 months. That's a little lame.
Okay.
Nurture casual relationships.
The first thing, we're like, not doing that.
Yeah.
This is a key to happiness? I'm not doing it. No way.
Nurture casual relationships. That's interesting because you wouldn't think that's important, but they say there's an Italian deli near your house and someone works there. The postal carrier. Work on these kind of relationships. It helps.
Oh, that's good. I don't mind small talk, so that'd be good for me.
Make time for conversations. Good.
Yeah.
Cultivate kindness. I'm not doing that.
I don't even know where to start.
Volunteer. Okay. We're not even going to pretend that we're going to do that. Volunteer. You're a young parent. Forget it. That's out. Number 6, learn to apologize. That's a really interesting one. So that means admitting you're wrong. I can do it. Can you guys do that?
I'm sorry for everything.
I apologize all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I start every sentence with, I'm sorry, but that's every single sentence I say.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what they mean, but yeah, that's pretty good. 7, ask questions. Here's something that everyone on planet Earth has in common. We all like to talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
So even the introverts among us, given the right circumstances, have things they'd love to expound on. So ask some questions. Okay.
That's a good one. I've heard something before that the best sound like in the world is the sound of your own name. Like that creates this sort of dopamine in your head when someone else says your name.
So those phonies that we interview that say our names.
Yes. That's a trick. Okay. For some people. Some people we actually know.
Here's number 8. This I guarantee you do not do.
Okay.
Express your love. Now, I'm not talking about to your family, just to random.
To random people?
Maybe it's a friend you volunteer to pick up at the airport, or maybe it's the old work colleague that you get along with so well. Reach out to them and let them know how much they mean to you.
No. I'm too stunted.
It's something Stu Kovacs over there would do.
Stu, Carlos, are you guys emotionally open to your coworkers?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't see that.
I think with some, yeah. In fact, I gave Greg Caserta a hug earlier. We saw each other. We embraced.
That's nice. I do like Greg. He's a nice guy. Ackerman, you worked here for a long time.
The hell with him.
Ackerman's keys to happiness.
25 guys, 25 cabs, or girls and cabs.
Yeah. Rich, so you don't go out of your way to express gratitude to people you've known for a long time?
No.
Sounds like you need a hug.
Okay, over there.
Which leads me to number 9. And by the way, all 9 of these points could be things that Ackerman does not do.
The anti. Yes.
Number 9, be willing to be vulnerable. This is one of the most important things.
Yeah. That leads you to being happy?
Relationships involve risk, especially at the beginning, so be willing to take them.
I think that's harder for men, but I think it's hard for women too.
Yeah, these are all really hard.
This is why nobody's happy.
We're not going to do any
Just
of these.
kidding.
We're not doing any of these. So basically, these little relationships that you get through the day, think more about them and put more into them, and you will be happier. For example, since I've had kids, I've blown off all my friends.
Your kids are kind of old.
My kids now are 11 and 12.
It's a lot of years blown off your friends.
Yeah.
Remember me?
No, I know. You'll find this. Your old friends are just go by the wayside, and then they have your kids, and you never ever get back on the same page.
Oh, and the pandemic made it worse because everyone moved away, including myself. So I moved. People moved to all different states.
That's when things really change. You can't go out with your old buddies. So I think I need to reconnect with my old buddies. That's what it means to me. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Reconnect.
I think for you, it means walking around the halls here at the office
Just
and
giving out hugs?
expressing gratitude.
To everybody? I love everybody here.
What?
I do. I don't think I'm giving out hugs, but, it might be an HR violation.
Really? That's funny, because before the show we were talking about...
Wait a minute. I don't think that is what we were talking about with the Harvard people. 84 years.
Okay,
it took them 84 years to come up with that. This is like a list that's in 17 magazine.
Isn't that funny? You're exactly right. It basically says it doesn't matter how much money you make, if you're in great shape, if you eat the best diet. None of that is really important. What really makes you happy is having good relationships with everybody in your life.
Pizza for everybody.
I don't feel like most people live their lives this way. And in fact, successful people don't really live their lives this way.
Maybe we're doing it all wrong. Because how many really successful people do you know that are really happy?
Not many.
Yeah, I know.
The CEOs have basically burned all their relationships in their lives.
And burned out, probably.
Yeah. I mean, think of the show Succession on HBO.
Everyone's miserable.
Yeah, really miserable.
They're rich, and that doesn't help anything either.
No. Okay. So I think basically walking around the halls and hugging people is the only way to be happy.
I don't know if we should be advocating for that.
Yeah.
But
we get us fired.
We get somebody fired.
Yeah.
Jack Curran once told me you can't do it unless you love it.
Do what?
Do anything.
Anything.
Unless you love it.
Who told you that?
Jack Curran. He was a Hall of Fame high school basketball coach, Coach Kenny Anderson in high school, among others.
Yeah, you never heard of Jack Curran?
No. I've heard of Jack Curry, the Yankees reporter.
Yeah, Jack Curry probably lives by the same mantra.
Probably.
Yeah, that's the Ackerman way now?
It's not bad. It's not bad to go by.
All right. What
Wait,
was it
tell
again?
me it again. Yeah, what
you
is
can't do it unless you love it. You got to love it.
What good does that do anybody?
Well, I think it increases production, or more effective production.
What I like to live by, my mom says this: take the high road, even if you're the only one on it.
There you go.
I like it.
No, it's good. It's good.
Carlos is shaking his head. No.
Oh, I go low. When they go low, I go lower.
Wow.
And by the way,
the reverse Michelle Obama. Interesting.
Someone who says that, your mom is not this case because she's awesome, but someone who says take the high road and you'll be the only one on it, that leads me.
No, even if
you're the only one on it. Leads me to believe that is not a person who's been taking the high road their whole life. Because why would you have an expression like that in your arsenal?
If you haven't been
she took the high road.
Yeah, she took the high road, and it worked out for her.
People who take the high road don't point out that they've been taking the high road.
No, I think they do.
They do not.
I'll ask my mom later. 855-212-4CBS. I think she takes that road. 855-212-4227. Okay, we got a lot to get to here before. Oh, man, we got so much to do. Sorry, I'm just looking at all the things that we have not gotten to yet. We got sidetracked on the Harvard study.
Yeah. We got a buddy just called in with his keys to happiness, too.
We're going to do that, too. We'll do it all after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
And we're loving it. Right now, 3 golfers in particular are loving the Masters as Jon Rahm He four-putted the first hole, but finished with 7 birdies and an eagle, and is tied for the lead at 7 under par with Victor Hovland, and Brooks Koepka finished his round with birdies on 3 of the final 4 holes. They're all at 7 under par. 2 shots back is Cameron Young. The defending champ, Scotty Scheffler, not a bad start. 3 under through 14 so far. Rory McIlroy is struggling. He is at 1 over through 13, and Tiger Woods today 2 over 74. Afternoon baseball today. There were lots of postponements, but several games as well. And Boston defeated Detroit by a score of 6-3 as Chris Sale picked up his first win, getting help from homers from Rafael Devers and Adam Duvall. The Blue Jays down the Royals by a score of 6-3. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his second for Toronto. Bobby Witt Jr. his first for the Royals today. San Francisco had 4 more home runs today, as make it 5 as J.D. Davis hit his second. They crushed the White Sox 16-6. Bottom of the 6th, Colorado with a 1-0 lead over Washington. I'm Rich Eckert.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We don't generally do the show for one person, but when you hear this song, it reminds us of one man, and that is our friend Sully from Boston. Sully, what's up, dude?
Stu's the best for that bumping music. Thank you very much. Maggie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sully. How you doing?
Me and the fabulous Schmoopy are sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic coming north from Newport, going back to Hermosa. So what a better time than to call in and talk about a topic that is dear to my heart. And McLovin, how we doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. Which topic? I'm dying to know right now.
Cam Newton naming all the quarterbacks he'd be a backup to, or was it the Panthers are going to take Bryce Young?
I would love to say it was hockey. And by the way, I never give the best sports update in the business, our guy Ackerman, any love. So Ackerman, how we doing, my man?
He's not there.
He's not here anymore. He exits the studio immediately after he's done.
Yeah. And besides,
well, then forget that.
I want to actually, Sully, give us our key. Is it the keys to happiness? That's what I'm hoping it is. I'd love to hear your keys to happiness.
For sure. Yeah, that was exactly why I was calling in. You know, you talked about relationship building and, you know, successful people. And for me, you guys have gotten to know me for a year and a half and maybe a little longer for McLovin is, you know, I'm a big relationship guy. And for me, no one's in charge of my own happiness. But I had to figure out what makes me happy. And for me, it's a lot of, you know, having meaningful conversations and spending time with friends. And that being said is when I try to go places, I try to stay out of my phone because I want to give the time I'm able to spend with someone, I want to give that person that respect of, hey, I'm here. It's us right here, right now. And I think that's a lost art. And some of the things in the happiness. What do you think, McLovin? You've known me for a little while.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I read a study recently that there's a crisis where parents have their phone out and are ignoring their kids. So, and I think it's the same thing.
I'm sorry, what were you guys saying? I was busy texting. Did I miss something there?
Maggie was on TikTok.
Tell me again. I'm sorry, I'm paying attention now.
So we were at the Super Bowl. Can I just tell a quick story? We were at the Super Bowl on Radio Row, and before I know it, basically Sully is in a deep embrace with Brandon Marshall and Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah.
Because you value conversations, and people sense that off of you, too. So it's contagious, right? Does that make sense?
Buddy, I've been able to sense that moment. Pac-Man and I have become extremely close, and we FaceTime probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Whoa.
And one of the things I loved about Pac is that he's completely turned his life around, and he's open and talks about his struggles. And I found, just for me, I find that guys that drop the ego and talk about vulnerability, for me, that's where I can find that deep, honest connection. You know, I value a lot in my friendships, and to me, that's what makes me happy. And it was funny that was it a Harvard study?
Yeah. By the way,
We knew it was something close.
So the two things,
close to your heart.
relationships make you happy, and the Bruins' success this season makes you happy. So
Same.
It's 1 and 2, right?
April 17th, when I start calling in, we're going to be talking nonstop Jim Montgomery, Coach of the Year, and the Boston Bruins en route to the Stanley Cup.
All right, Sully, we're trying to gain listeners here, pal. You know, we want the show to succeed. We can't just be talking about Boston. We give enough to the Patriots.
Well, the Patriots are going to be terrible for a while, so I got to shift the channel. So what makes you happy, Maggie? What do you find?
Talking to you, Sully, you know? No. What makes me happy? Just give me a Bills win and a nice sunny day.
Besides that, really? What
yeah, let's drop the facade. Let's get real here, Maggie. You're talking to Sully here.
You know what makes me happy? It makes me happy when I see other people happy.
Yeah.
That's something that makes me happy. When other people are happy and when everyone's healthy and safe, that's what makes me feel happy.
Yeah. I agree.
Did everyone buy that? I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
That's good. I like that.
McLovin, what do you got?
Well, I'll be very happy when I have a tweet that predicts something accurately, like John Rahm winning this Masters. That is, I get a huge dopamine.
And you could retweet yourself when he does
retweet myself. I get a huge dopamine hit from the rare accurate tweet that I have. No, you know what makes me happy? Hanging out with the boys and laughing and all that stuff, and obviously my family too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're running.
It's like an Oscar speech.
Yeah, Sully.
Sully, we got to do some other things here.
We're
We
out
got to
of
take
time,
care of.
but we'll continue this conversation.
And also, hi to Schmoopy. Hi, Schmoopy.
What up?
Hey, Schmoopy. She does exist. Yes. She's not a figment of Sully's imagination. Just kidding. We always knew you existed, Schmoopy. All right. That was awesome. Thank you, Sully. This was a topic that Sully spent a lot of time and effort, making himself like an expert in this area. So that's cool to get his expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It did sound a little phony, watching other people be happy.
Did you guys buy that?
No.
I feel like I delivered that pretty solidly.
I got to be honest, a great meal makes me happy. Watching certain things, watching a Philadelphia sports team win on TV, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Are these terrible things? I don't know.
We're simple people.
I was thinking the same thing as you, just watching my teams and with the company of some people. Yeah, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Know what else
Honestly,
makes me
the weather really is the only thing that dictates my mood.
You know what else makes me happy? Eula Kaka.
Well, let's get to it. The shot of the day. Casamigos, our shot of the day. Let's do it. Whoever's just tuning in is like, what the hell? The shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. No, it's not an inside joke that you're on the outside of. It's something that came up earlier today.
I don't know what they're actually called, but whenever we do did you ever bring stuff from your
your heritage to
your
school?
heritage school? So my mom would cook up fish balls, which we only made to bring to my class. Yeah, we made fish balls like 4 times.
That must have been a real crowd pleaser for the fourth graders.
Kids hate fish balls. That's one thing I learned the hard way. When my mom left, they threw them at me.
To be honest, you kind of deserved it.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone else is bringing cookies and stuff like that, and you brought fish
balls. There's
balls.
this amazing Norwegian cookie called Julekaka.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, it was hard to say without giggling.
Yeah.
Julekaka. I'll bring in some of those.
Doesn't sound appetizing at all.
Yeah, that sounds like caca.
I'll bring it. Okay, it's up to you guys. If Hovland wins, I will bring in the Norwegian.
Definitely, we definitely want the cookies and not the fish balls.
Okay, fish balls, but they're called Julekakas. That's not going to bother you?
Well, we can, that part, it's easier to stomach the name than stomach the actual fish balls.
So it's kind of like a thin cannoli.
Great. There we go. And now we're all rooting for Hovland to win.
Now we know what happiness is for Maggie. A cannoli. Great.
I know. I did respond to that pretty wildly.
Yeah, I mean, the immature side of me does want to say Julekaka and fish balls and where that leads.
We overlooked the biggest thing to make us happy. Casamigos margarita on the rocks, sitting on a beach somewhere.
There
really
you go.
anytime. But that's what we got. Our big thanks to all of our good friends at Casamigos for being part of this show, because it's important to us to maintain that relationship, which is an excellent one.
Yeah.
George Clooney, Randy Gerber, Mike Meldman, Lee Einsiedler, all of them, we're thankful. All right, so you're really going to bring it in? If Hovland wins, he's 7 under.
So I think...
Because Perloff, his grandmother was born in Norway, so Hovland is Norwegian, so now he's rooting for Hovland.
I think we should just go all in and decide we are going to have the food of whoever wins the Masters. So John Rahm is from Spain, right?
Yeah.
Hovland is from Norway. Now, Brooks Koepka Is he from Florida, I want to say?
What's the Florida cuisine? You know, some OJ?
Some gator.
Gator. I was thinking gator.
I think of gator as more of a Louisiana thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm being like nitpicky.
No, there are a lot of alligators in Florida, though. You're right, but they cook them in Louisiana.
Yeah.
He's from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Okay.
What is the delicacy that is unique to West Palm?
There's a long way away, but let's dedicate ourselves to this. We're going to eat the food of the Masters. We're going to have our own Masters dinner.
Oh, that will be our Masters dinner.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been trying to get in on this Masters dinner action ever since Sky Scheffler announced his,
You know what?
his menu.
You know what is a delicacy in Spain if John Rahm does win?
Fish balls?
Rabbit testicles.
Yeah, balls.
Yeah, exactly. So good luck with that. Now, do you want John Rahm to win?
No, I'm not so into that. I'd have some paella.
There we go. They put it in the paella and don't tell anybody. I'm just kidding. That's just what might happen right here on the Maggie Perloff Show. Okay. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Carlos Ortiz. Thank you to David Dusek, who joined us. Everybody on the phones. Love when Sully calls in. All of the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the YouTube chat. Weedos. See you tomorrow.